that should be it. Does that work? It doesn't look like it's working.
No, I see. See now that you have you've selected the OBS camera.
Hmm. I'm good at things. Actually, I have an idea. There. What
Oh,
if
cool. There
that
you go.
works? There we go. Everything works now.
Perfect.
All right. This would be, like I said, I'm definitely good at all technology. Definitely, yeah. I don't struggle with getting very basic things set up. Not at all. Um, which means I can increase this, which means I can see on the other side of things. Uh, yeah, because nobody ever watches beginnings of streams and stuff. So, yeah. Which I found that the easiest way to for me to record stuff is instead of because I used to do things on Twitch, but things were just it was really weird going through going through OBS to Twitch. Things were just causing a lot of problems. So then I tried to just try to stream through YouTube itself, but then things weren't working very well there either. So I was like, all right, let me just stream just directly through OBS, and everything seemed to work there. So
Yeah. Yeah. You might have these thumbtacks. Back down. Yeah, me and all my fun little sorcery stuff.
oh yeah. Do you want to be on it?
Yeah, sure. My face has already been on YouTube throughout my life, so
Um, Now I try to figure out how to do that.
if not, you don't have to worry about it. If anything, if you're using OBS, you could I think capture my. I think you could. The workaround would be to tell OBS to make a new screen capture of your Discord and then minimize it to just be my
Mm,
screen.
true. Oh,
Yeah,
like yeah. All right.
similar to
All
similar to
right.
that,
Hold on.
and
Then
then
hold on. I gotta edit things.
yeah, you could also I think hide. I would change your Discord to not be just. There's probably ways to hide your phone in Discord. Can you?
Boop.
Show. Oh yeah, right click and then you can turn off show my camera on Discord. Uh, if you right click on Discord, I think on your camera there's a button on the bottom that turns off your camera.
Uh.
Very bottom, show my camera.
Ah. There we go. Boop. And then I'll just minimize myself. Boop. Epic. Uh.
And then
Then to hide a lot of stuff, hide my inability to function as a member of society. I mean, I can always edit it. Anybody who ever watches starts of my streams and stuff, it's always just how the heck do I work things?
hey, it is what it is.
Scale no. God, there's all these words. I don't like words. Words are hard.
So we just gonna air cards.
For now, I mean, we could look at all of them if you want. Well, as many as you want. I don't really care.
I have opinions on air cards. Lots of opinions. I've been playing the games for 2 years now, so I have lots of opinions on a lot of cards.
I've been playing for, oh my god, like maybe 2 months. So
Nice.
yeah. So I was like, man, this game's awesome. You know what? I'm just gonna hard rotate over to sorcery. Screw magic now. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna go in here.
yeah. I did the playtest. I played the. I was part of the playtesting, or some of the early playtesting. Not the earliest playtesting. I was the post Kickstarter playtesting,
Okay.
and So that was fun. Played for a little bit, learned the game. I still have the rule book that I used to learn the game, which is like
Oh
version
my god.
0.6. It's like version 0.6 of the rule book. Oh man, it's fun. There's some fun
Ooh.
cards.
I mean, I was
It
seeing
was like
a lot of the weird looking cards, some of the, like legendary sites and stuff. Is
okay.
that from?
So those are curios, which their pull rate is 1 out of every 50 boxes. Um,
Oh,
it, so almost not. Some of them are playable, some of them are not.
okay.
Like the one that says a legendary site, that would be Water Castle. Water Castle is a good example of a non-playable one. But Water Castle is taking inspiration. Well, it was like a very, very, very early representation of the game. So back when they were, so like the curios range anywhere from alt arts to trolling to like showing some stage of the game's development throughout its history. Um, and they've also done 3 curios that are corrections to
Hmm.
other cards.
Hmm.
Beta had some interesting curios. The alpha ones had some fun ones. Um, I think the biggest troll one were the alpha trolls. So the 3 troll cards in the game, you had a chance of those being a curio, and it looked completely the same on the front of the card, but the back of the card said Eric's Curio instead of an Eric's Curiosa game. Um, on the Yeah,
So yeah,
curios are
so yeah, instead of Eric's Curiosa, um, Curioso, whatever. Yeah, it just got rid of the EO at the end.
yeah, it like oh god, this is not going to show up, but yeah, that very top part said like Eric's Curio instead of an Eric's Curiosa card game.
Well,
Um,
because I know like Magic has like some of the playtest cards that you can get, and they're always just basically scrapped cards that they're like, hey guys, you can just check these cards out if you want, but they're
yeah,
never playable. They're awful. Like don't don't ever play
yeah.
these.
So the playable curios that I know of, I technically you can technically play all the alpha, the alpha trolls curios because the front sides are all the same.
Yeah.
In the beta curios, the ones you can play the step curio because it's showing the jihad and crusade arts together instead of step. So that's an option. That's one that's playable. The apprentice wizard curio is playable. It's just a mirrored image of apprentice wizard. It's not apprentice wizard. Adept illusionist. The adept
Oh,
illusionist curio. It's a mirror image of it. It's extremely hard to tell. Uh,
I'm like, yeah, because I know what the card is in like in my head, and I'm like, now that you say it, as soon as you're like it's mirrored, I'm like, which way is he facing?
they're facing the same way. It's the little smoke squiggly in between the two of them is how you tell the difference. Um, the main way you tell if you pull the curio is they fall in the exact same slot as foils.
Hmm.
So if you're
Okay.
like, hey, why is there an elite in the middle of my ordinaries that isn't foil? It's because you pulled the curio.
Hmm.
And then there's the really cool ones, the sketch arts. I think you can the alpha avatar sketch arts. Those are very playable. I don't know why you would play them. People are selling them for over $1,000 each, but
I can barely struggle to keep $1,000 in my bank account half the time.
yeah,
But you know,
yeah, I
that's
feel
just
that.
young people problems. It's
Yeah, no, curios are cool. They're really fun. Um, and it's a cool way to do it. But so I've been playing since playtesting.
mm-hmm.
Took some time off a little bit. Like playtest that first round of playtesting ended. I was like, cool. I can't wait to get my alpha cards. Hopefully it'll only be like 3 months. Turns out it was like 9 months later we get the cards. But then in January of 2023, I lost 2 of my favorite commander decks and kind of like just was like, it's gonna be $600 to replace these. I think I'm just gonna step out of Magic, and so I stepped back out of Magic from there. Played a little bit on Arena still, and then was just like, and then I heard about the Sorcery TTS League. Season 1 just finished. They posted the finals videos. Watched it. I was like, oh, people are playing this game. Like it's back open to be playing again, so I hopped up on the League on season 2, and then dived into Sorcery and kind of just like, all right, Magic, you're done with my life. Like that chapter of my life is done. I'm still planning on selling my Magic collection at some point, keeping a few decks because it's fun and all that stuff. I've done pre-release twice since then, since I've wrapped up my time playing Magic, and I'm just like, I could play Sorcery any day of the week and have a fun time.
I'm like, yeah, because I started to move a little bit away from Magic just because like my actual channel originally was supposed to be more of a just making a bunch of commander decks, just showing them off, showing people like, hey, these are like potentials for some decks, seeing some of the like, this is what I'd consider like high powered casual way, because that's kind of how I tend to view a lot of things, because I don't delve too deep into a lot of competitive stuff. I have been to some tournaments and they haven't been too much fun for me. I like to play a more casual setting, but yeah, I've just started to move away from it just because I've noticed that it just there's only so much you can do with it until eventually, like, I know a lot about the lore. I know basically every single rule. I mean, I get some of the stuff like the certain timing of things, or not the stack, the layers. I get that like mixed up, but at the end of the day, it's like I know basically all the rules to the point where I can confidently play a game and also help people with it. And I don't have the funds to constantly go and just keep playing this game. And then my buddy just brings up this game and just goes, "Hey, I got a box. Do you want to open it up? Maybe do like the, I mean, I wouldn't even call it the draft of it. The was it 6 card basically limited version of it.
Sealed?
Yes, yeah, sealed.
Sealed.
Yeah, but yeah, we went through a whole entire box just playing that, and it was a lot of fun. And
Oh
I was like, I'll just get into this.
yeah, this game's so much fun.
Oh yeah, 100%. There's
I
I like.
there's so much to this.
Oh yeah. I mean, getting into it, he even described it as imagine Magic, but on like a 3D chessboard, and I was like, all right, this might be some like gimmick thing. And then as soon as we started playing, I mean, our games were taking like 2 hours. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, there was even sometimes where he was like, hey, I gotta go to the bathroom, and I'm like, all right, well, my turn just started. Go to the bathroom. I'm gonna need to look through the rules. I need to plan my turn out. And then it was like, all right, he gets back and goes, all right, you done with your turn? Well, you ready for your turn? I'm like, all right, I'm just going to play this, draw 3 cards, move this, and hope and pray. And, oh, it was so much fun. And then we started to actually build, we just started proxying at first just to see kind of what more, like, constructed decks were going to be for it. And, yeah, I built 3 decks, he built 2, and you could definitely tell that he doesn't play as many card games as I do. But I was looking at it more of a, all right, what do I want to accomplish? How do I get there, and streamline everything basically. So I know like one of the decks I built was it was a great old one, Island Leviathan kind of grapple shot deck that I was like, all right, easiest thing I need to do is just ramp everything out, get to it as fast as I can, and realize that is not how you should play that. Because yeah, I was adding stuff like I was adding like Black Obelisk. I was adding basically every single mix core. Just like it was Elementalist. Just throw everything in there that I think is good. That's gonna ramp me there. And then I realized, oh wait, I have all this mana and nothing to do with it.
No cards.
Because yeah,
No
you only
cards.
have 3
No
cards.
cards.
You only have 3 spell cards you start in hand. And I'm like, this isn't gonna work.
Draw is such a premium in Sorcery, and it's very fascinating to build around. Okay, drawing. Like I always tell people when they first get into Sorcery is every game will end in top decking.
Mm-hmm.
Like if like there's only a few decks I can think of that rarely ever top deck, and that's like a Death Speaker draw engine deck, which I'm very familiar with building. Death Speaker was my first avatar that I played around and built around. But like you have to build your decks in a way or play in a way knowing that I'm going to top deck. Like, it's going to get to a point where I'm going to have no cards in hand and I have to make it work. And it's such a different mind perspective of how you play Magic. Because Magic, you're
Mm-hmm.
like, if I'm out of cards, unless I'm playing a Hellbent deck, I'm doing something
Yeah.
wrong.
Oh yeah. Because yeah, in Magic, it's yeah, exactly. It's you have no cards in hand. All right, you are losing, and it's just all. That's why I love that this, while it is still about resource management, it's a lot more of like the all right. You actually not even just need to add the best card, like the best cards in this, but you need to add like some specific cards for like all right, are you in that bad scenario? Like all right, you need to get there or find a way to be able to get out of bad scenarios while at the same time pushing in having board control while still just having those like strictly better cards or for you to play it. The amount of
Yeah.
like deck building in this is so much more of like a my brain wants to be like all right, just draw a lot of cards, make a lot of mana, do things with it, and now this is like no, don't like just only draw a lot of cards. Don't only like just make a bunch of mana. No, you need to do everything, and yet you need to do exactly one thing all at the same time. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
oh,
It's a fun deck building challenge. At the end of the day, Sorcery, I think, is one of the most, is deck building's a challenge.
mm-hmm.
It's, I think it's because we're so limited in cards. I'm so excited to start deck building again in a week.
Dude. Oh,
With
it's
once AL comes in, like, I'm ready. I'm ready to start. I've been staring at these cards for 2 years, and just a super side note: anyone that's like sorcery needs to be 2 sets a year, absolutely not. I've stared at the same 400 cards for 2 years now, and I'm like, there's still new ideas. There's
oh
still
yeah,
new decks. Um, and like, yes, AL is going to be half the number of cards. AL is like 220 cards, but like 220 a year, I made 400 work for two.
yeah.
Like, it's um, we're gonna be smooth it. Like, it's we're gonna be cruising. It's great. But like, yeah, it's so interesting to build around decks. And I have, God, how many decks do I have? I have, okay, 45 decks. That's, some of those are for an alternate format that I've built with a couple people, and some of them are clones of other decks. But I have, like, just on my Curiosa, like 35 card 30 to 35 decks, that all do something very different. Like,
Yeah.
none of them play alike unless they're basically clones of each other because I was doing one thing differently. Um,
I mean, heck, even like you're looking at you can have one deck that all right, I'm gonna do this one specific thing. The moment you even swap out the avatar from it, then all of a sudden,
the whole
whole
thing changes.
mindset change. It's
Yeah.
oh
So, um, very few people play sorcery best of three, but when you do play best of three sorcery, um, avatars are allowed in your sideboard of 10 cards. Um,
ooh.
and it's, some of the rules are different, but if you go back and watch the season 1 league finals, it's very fascinating because they're doing best of three, and both of them built their decks in a way that their sideboard could entirely change their entire deck going into game 2. Um, so I know, like, someone came in with Enchantress for their first, for round 1. They're like, this isn't working. So then they swapped in Avatar of Air and like a bunch of other air cards, and the entire deck changed because they could just swap their Avatar and like 6 cards, and the entire deck's new.
I'm like that. Yeah, that's definitely a change.
Yeah, it's really cool. I would love to see more of um, best ofs instead of just best of one. I think
Yeah.
sorcery though is at its best in best of one, um, because this game is meant to be swingy. It's meant to be casual. Like, I've lost so many games just because the deck didn't do the deck thing, or my opponent's deck did exactly what their deck wanted to do. But like, then I've had games where I'm losing. I draw my unique that completely changes the game, and it's a story you remember forever. Um,
I mean, one of the games my buddy and I played, it straight up like it literally went. I was winning, and then suddenly he just started to beat me. That I had his answers to like his 2 cards that beat mine, and then suddenly I started to push. He had a small pushback, and then I finally came in to win. I mean, I've had the one where he managed to what is it, the spawn 7 frog tokens, whatever.
Like a frogs. Like a
Yeah,
frogs.
and then the orb or whatever.
Orb of Balberith.
Yes.
So he made 14 frogs.
Yeah,
Classic.
he
Classic combo.
made
So
four.
good.
Yeah, just made 14 frogs, and he's sitting there being like, man, you have nowhere to go. You have nothing to do, and I'm sitting there like already. He brought me down to death's door, and I think I took maybe a damage or two, and I was like, this is actually fine. He's like, dude, I literally kill you next turn. You're surrounded. I have you in checkmate, and I went, no. You have me in check. And then I teleported to the clear opposite end of the board where none of his stuff was, and I was right there. So then all of a sudden I just started playing actually I think I was playing my what was it? I think I was playing my mono air deck. Because yeah, somebody said that Nimbus Jin was just insane, and I went, it can't be that good.
Oh,
And
it's if you're building the Jin combo, it's so good.
when all of a sudden, like, that's why I think like Apprentice Wizard is great, because it just it does the thing, it allows you to do more things and replaces itself. So it's like
So the Jin combo is classic Death Speaker, the classic Death Speaker deck, which is funny. My Death Speaker deck is the second most viewed deck on Curiosa, and it's nothing like any of the other Death Speaker decks, because mine is more of a burn aggro focus, where, although now that I put 50-30 cards in it, it has the standard Death Speaker package of the Jin combo, but the deck will forever be burn, it's forever casual. Like, the best way to play Death Speaker is to run 3 colors, you run Earth, so you can cycle a lot more, but the Jin combo is great. You play your summoning sphere, you have 6 cards in hand, 6 or 7 cards in hand, play Jin on them, unload your whole hand, and you're like, well, you're at death's door, good luck.
That's literally what I said on him too, because I think I did run Summoning Sphere too, and was just played it there. And I mean, he kept trying to say the Summoning Sphere wasn't a good card, and I'm like, it single-handedly puts you.
Sphere is so good.
It just allows you to just, all right, I'm now at your area at all times. You have to move out of it in order for me to not just dome you immediately. And then he's like, well, but then you're spending a turn to then place it, and then like, all right, but then I can play around it. And I'm like, who's gonna play around? You're like, all right, I have a Summoning Sphere out. Now I'm going to do a whole bunch of little stuff. You're not going to think twice about a Summoning Sphere until suddenly, boom, I basically win the game, checkmate.
Yeah. So Summoning Sphere is a great card. It's always been good. It's seen less and less play, I think, as people have been playing more.
I mean, there is counterplay around it too. Like
there's some the earliest mistake that people make with Summoning Sphere is you play it
when they're only at like
away.
2, like 2 or 3 sites.
Playing it right away is a little dangerous, because then they'll just play on the other side, so they have 2 sites that aren't affected. You usually want to wait till either the turn before you want to start using it, or like in a more aggressive play, it's great. Turn 1 or turn 2, you play it. They're not going anywhere. Like,
yeah.
And then if your whole deck's low dudes, you're just like, small dude, hit things. Like, Summoning Sphere is perfect with Violet. It's perfect with Cobalt. It's perfect with Jin. All great cards.
I mean, I've even had things like I think I had a Snow Leopard or something deal like 8 damage to him over the course of the time, just because like he couldn't interact with it, and he was trying his best to just control the board. I think he was playing mono water, I think, and he was trying to just push something or do something, and I was just sitting there like, all right, so you take 2, all right, now you take 2, are you taking 2, until he finally was able to answer it. And I'm like, dude, my 1 mana has dealt you 8 while I've been able to also do other things. Like, we may need to fall back and do it.
Yeah, Sorcery's crazy. When you begin to play, you realize, I can't look at these cards like I looked at like Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, I haven't played Flesh and Blood, so I can't make comments there.
I haven't
But
either.
like you look at these things and you're just like, why is this vanilla creature so good? And you're like, because it's because of where it's at on the board. Like board position
Mm-hmm.
matters. Like the actual like board presence is an actual thing you have to look at, analyze, figure out. It's chess. Like the board is chess. Like controlling the center is a real thing that matters. Like putting opponents in risky situations, all of that analysis. It's sorcery is so simple to play, but its skill ceiling is so much higher than I think any other TCG out there. Like that I've at least played.
I mean, he also had the precons too. I mean, even that, like, controlling, putting people into risky situations, checkmating. Like I was even able to set him, like, put him at death's door, and then also had the I think it's the, I don't remember if it's 1 or 2 power. It's like movement +2 and airborne. I think it's like
Yeah,
a
that's gonna
cloud
be
something.
Cloud Spirit.
Yeah, cloud spirit.
It's a 2 power, 2 cost, 2 air threshold, movement +2 and airborne.
And we were playing the precons, and I had 2 of those out, and he just couldn't deal with them, and I moved one, moved another, and went, all right, what do you do now? And he's like, you've literally put me in checkmate. I can't move, I can't do an action to kill both of them at the same time. I lose. And that's what
Yeah,
I love, the fact that too, it is just like chess, where yeah, you have to control the board, but at the same time, even when you're not controlling the board, it's still like a, if you have underlying control, then you still can pull that cheeky victory. But like the, teleporting across the, across the realm, basically, like, while they can do a lot of, like, but it's still not, that's not board control on their part either, because I think a lot of people don't think about that either, is that board control doesn't just mean you have all this stuff out. It's no, you actually have, like, all right, I have defensive options and offensive options, while at the
yep,
same time being able to mess with your opponent's stuff and making them do, like, worse plays in order for you to make better plays. Um,
yep,
because yeah, like, I have a battle mage deck that I was like, all right, I just I want to play battle mage. I just want to, that's my whole thing in life. I want to make this good. And I love Voltron in deck. Oh, in Magic.
yeah,
So just load him up. I just load him up with a whole bunch of, Crown of Valor, the Flaming Sword, loading him up with the globe. So by the end of the game, I only had 3 sites out, but I was able to, with the globe, just push in, and because he decided to try to go around so he could start spawning stuff in on my, like,
yeah,
on the
yep,
sides of my sites, and I'm like, I don't I don't kind of get what you're doing, because then I played the site that has spellcaster, well, fire spellcaster,
uh,
whatever. Yeah,
River of Flame.
yeah, I happen to have that, played that literally right in front of his starting site, and just, there was, I mean, even if there wasn't a whole lot I could do with my draws and stuff, it was still like, I'm sitting there dealing like 6+ damage to him, and per turn, he's only able to deal me like 1 or 2 at max, and I'm right on top of him at all times, and just able to do so much stuff. And afterwards, he was like, "Dude, that actually kind of wasn't that fun." I was like, "I don't understand why," you're, because like, he even tried to explain his game plan was with the was it the Mega Amoeba or something?
Mega Amoeba
And
deck. Oh, dude, if you could pull that off,
yeah,
you feel like you've
oh
won
yeah,
the game.
if you can pull it off, yeah. But I literally beat the Mega Amoeba with a camel.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah. Mega Amoeba is so hard to pull off because you need to play your Mega Amoeba, then you need to play 7 League Boots or Blaze, give it some sort of extra movement, and then the real thing is once you do that, is then you play Land Deed, and you're just like, I
oh,
control all
oh
of the
no.
sites.
Oh, because yeah, you just get to go from each one, and just like, all right, I control all of them. Deal with a,
Yeah,
7 or 8 power on board.
yeah. So the real stack is Mega Amoeba, but it's extremely hard to make Mega Amoeba work. They do play there.
Can you put the artifacts on the little
Yes.
pseudopod things?
So they're all Mega Amoeba. They're all the
Oh,
pseudopod
okay.
is just a token to represent where Mega Amoeba has been. They are all Mega Amoeba.
they just can't move, right? The original card
No,
is the only one that can move, right?
kind of. So they all move. You actually specify what part is moving to where. Um, so Mega Amoeba's weird, as its FAQ states. That's my favorite FAQ answer. Mega Amoeba literally says it's weird in
It's
its
just weird.
FAQ answer. But yeah, so like you just assume everywhere is the card Mega Amoeba where you put a pseudopod.
Okay.
Mega Amoeba gets a little bit tricky with like certain artifacts, like um, like Flaming Sword. Flaming Sword kind of matter. No, Flaming Sword isn't one that would matter. Which one am I thinking of? Okay, something like Maddening Bells. So Maddening Bells cares about what's nearby it and all this stuff. So if I put that in a particular spot on Mega Amoeba, I have to specify when I move that spot
Okay.
so the Maddening Bells can be
Yeah.
moved. You can't freely move artifacts within a large minion. They have to be at that spot where they are. So a better example is with like Mountain Giant. You have 4 sites to pick on. Let's say I pick the lower left site. If I put an artifact there, that artifact is always in the Mountain Giant's lower left spot.
Okay.
It's never going to be in the top right. But like Mega Amoeba, it's a lot more tracking. But with like 7 League Boots or Flaming Sword, that stuff doesn't matter. Landed cares about the location it's at and not the location where the minion's at, and not the location of Landed.
Because I think it's the unit has like the bear controls the site or something.
Sites it's at, yeah.
Like I can even like I have QS pulled up too.
Yeah, Landed is bear has you control this site, so it basically just kind of says at your location, at whatever site you're at, you control that. So Mega Amoeba's at all the sites, so you control all the sites.
Oh, that's nuts.
Yeah, the Mega Amoeba combo is fun. It's a fun combo.
I can definitely tell it's a lot more. I don't even want to say casual, but I feel like that would be a lot more.
It's pure jank.
It's jank.
It's pure jank.
Yeah, and we love jank down here. Like you always have to have jank in here.
I was trying to build a jank deck with Ultra investments. So if you look up Root Spider, everyone misreads Root Spider. Everyone misreads Root Spider. So Root Spider says if it's burrowed, it disables. Everyone thinks and plays it as if it's under a site, it disables what's above it. So I was building a deck where I'm like, oh, I'm going to give my Root Spider Ultra investments and just go under your water sites and disable your dudes. And then I played it, and then I was like, that's not how it works.
That's not how that works. There's a very key word in this, but that's also why I love Sorcery too, because in Magic, the saying, reading the card explains the card. This Sorcery is just so much not that it's.
It is,
awesome.
But is it? Like, sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. It's sometimes the card's just wrong. I'm looking at you, Infiltrate, but you needed to be errata twice. It does not play how it reads. You need to click on the card and read its errata. That's broken. What's printed on the card is broken. And if you don't see why, I can explain why.
Gain control of target enemy minion until it deals damage. Okay, I might understand where the concern is. So so you then tap it after you gain control of it. So it's the until it deals damage is still part of the gain control of it until it deals damage. Then you tap it and it gains stealth.
Kind of. So what's problematic about what's printed is attacking a site doesn't deal damage. So attacking a site causes loss of life. If you attack a site and it's undefended, it causes loss of life. So with how Infiltrate is printed, it allows me to gain control of your unit, move it to a site that it's never going to be also, like, you basically get a free hit because it's stealth. You can't defend against stealth attacks. But basically, I just sit on a site and hope you don't have any minions nearby, and then I just get to keep punching your site, and I keep control. That's not good.
Because
So
because that's not damage. It's just
it's
lost
loss
play.
of life.
Oh, okay. I
So
see what the problem
it
is.
was errata to fix it. It still was too good still. So it's been errata to what currently says. Fun fact on Curios's website, anytime you see the phrase treat card text as, that is an errata. Um,
Tree Cartex
so
has.
if you look at its FAQ, I really wish they'd say, hey, what's the errata? But the FAQ is, hey, how does infiltrate kind of work? And it says, no, treat card text as, and this is infiltrates errata. Target minion gangs stealth, untap it, tap it. You control it until it loses stealth. Um, yeah, the little FAQ little box right there.
I'm like, yeah, I see that, but yeah, no, I don't see like a. Oh no, yeah, I see it. So
There you go. In the answer, yeah,
okay,
it's not clean. It's not clear. We've made the judges for the sorcery league have.
okay, okay. I'm like, yeah, now I see that is very different wording of the card, which now
Yeah.
makes sense.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. It's the correct way how the card is, and I'm sad that there will be many people that play a broken version of infiltrate, um, and then they'll go to a tournament and then be told by someone, "Hey, that's not how that card works."
Judge,
Um,
she's playing this card wrong. It's like, and it's like, what? No,
it's
that's what it says. No.
infiltrate is still extremely good. It's just not as broken as it used to be,
Yeah.
which is important. I don't need a 4 mana card that that is removal and then lets me deal damage. Now it just says, hey, lose stealth, which leads to some great counterplay, because now we saw, once that errata happened, we saw a change in air decks. Watchtower and stealth removing cards almost never saw play, and then once infiltrate had its errata, those skyrocketed in play because now they're infiltrate
Yeah.
stoppers.
Yeah.
They're great
Infiltrate tech.
counters to infiltrate. But the great thing that most people forget is, yeah, it loses stealth, but you still tap the minion. So sometimes it's worth paying 4 mana to just tap a minion down, even if you don't gain control of it, because you might need to come in and do damage. Um, so it's still not a dead card if someone's playing Watchtower, but it's just not going to be as good as it used to be. Yeah.
I still, as soon as I saw this card, was like, that, especially in such a limited environment, I was like, this card good.
It's fun.
Nice for me.
It's
Yeah.
as printed. It was, I think, considered probably, I think, the second or third best card in the game.
Oh my god, five cards have been added since the last time
Yeah,
I've.
they added the draft cards. They added the draft sites, which if you go to sites, uh, if you scroll down, there's going to be Spire, Wastelands, um, Valley, and what is the water one? Stream.
You said Spire, Wasteland. Well, because I thought.
Valley and Stream. So you'll so you just pass Spire, right there. It's the standing stones.
Oh, okay.
So all the draft sites are the same. These are coming in the draft kits that you can purchase for $15 on Curios's on Sorcery's website. They are, yeah, that's just what they are. Just they do nothing, but they let you run any number of them in your deck. They are meant for draft and limited play. The draft kits are, you get a Spell Slinger, which is the new draft avatar, that is allowed to be anyone's avatar if playing limited, and then you get you get 4 Spell Slingers and 4 of each of the draft sites.
Okay.
No, you get 12.
My only main question now that I'm wondering, because I know like in Magic it's always can't always can. So it's
Yeah, can't beats can.
yeah. So like your Atlas may include any number of spires. So like then if you were playing Pathfinder, then
The
can't.
current consensus is yeah, they are both overriding game techs, but because Pathfinder is more restrictive, Pathfinder goes against it, which kind of sucks for Pathfinder, especially with the Atlas size increase coming up. So Pathfinder will not see mono deck play for probably another two or 3 years. but it's fine. And honestly, once the rules come out, Eric Serioso might be like, do what you want with Pathfinder. You can run them. We're just waiting.
Yeah.
The judges already have it set that you can't. You can run one of them in your Pathfinder deck. Um, is what the league judges have decided.
Which, yeah, I had some choice words to say about Pathfinder. It's
Pathfinder's great. It's really good. Um, no, Pathfinder's extremely good because Pathfinder says you always draw spells.
but don't you? But you only have 3, right? Or
You
do
start
you?
with 3 spells.
Yeah,
But here's the thing: your opponents, by turn 6, you have 6 sights on the ground and 6 spells in hand. Your opponent on turn 6 does not have 6 spells in hand and 6 sights on the ground.
yeah.
So Pathfinder's one of those avatars that like you're like, I don't think it's good, and then you see it played and you're like, I see why it's good. So yeah, Pathfinder runs into the problem of yes, you might not flip the sight you need. That's just the risk you get for playing Path. But a lot of the best Path players out there will tell you that you shouldn't run any 2 threshold cards under 4 mana. So that mitigates your entire risk of not hitting what you need to. And sometimes, yeah, you will be screwed. Sometimes your entire hand is fire cards and you only flip Earth. But it's very fascinating. Like if you go to Dex, there's a couple good Pathfinder decks. If you go Dex, search instead of by name by all time, and then just filter by Pathfinder, you'll see some great any avatar. So up at the top, next to the search engine, the top, you see there's an avatar button and recent. Change that to Pathfinder, and then change the next text box to all time. And so Pathfinder's Revenge by Zack Attack. Zack Attack is probably one of he's played Pathfinder the most. He's done the most experimenting with Pathfinder. Great job. And then the next deck, Warpath, is also a very good build for Pathfinder. That's very in a lot more of an aggro way of playing. And then you could just go to Zach's profile page and you'll see a bunch of Pathfinder decks. He does a great job experimenting with that avatar. Yeah, Autumn Euchre I think is the one exception Drew has in his deck, but it's mostly Earth, and the deck plays extremely well. Zach has a water Pathfinder deck that is so fun, and he plays also one that's like mostly removal, so like half the deck's removal, so he just has a handful of removal, and he's just dealing with the opponent until you're gonna outpace. Pathfinder, I think it's the math is like turn 10 is when Sorcerer will begin to outpace Pathfinder after like drawing, like you assume both go to 6 sites. Once Sorcerer hits six sites, they then start drawing 2 cards per turn. And then it's like turn 10 where they make equilibrium of like sites of like spells. Like Pathfinder by turn 10 is 10 sites, has probably 8 sites in the play. But it's a good card. It's hard. It's hard to play.
Yeah, I could definitely understand. Yeah, the risk with it too. It reminds me a lot of the of Tron decks in Magic. Yeah, it's just you come down to the risk of like, all right, you just like if you hit it, then yeah, you're insane and you could just do what you want. But then there is still that like small risk of like, all right, but if you mitigate the risk enough, then it just does not matter because you're just winning.
Pathfinder does the best job at showing this game's risk, reward, and deck building strategies of how deck building is a game to mitigate a lot of the stuff. But those are 2 very fun decks, very good decks. Both Drew and Zach are phenomenal players, and it's always fun playing around with Zach. I love, me and Zach talk all the time. It's great. I'm excited to be judging again with him for Sorcery Con. It's always fun partnering him as a judge at events.
Oh, I didn't know you were a judge.
Yeah. I've been a judge I've been a league judge, I think, for the past year now, and all this stuff. So if I'm at events, I try to judge. I've made the stance now that I'm no longer gonna play at events. I'm just gonna judge. I'll go and play. Judging's fun. Playing's also a lot of fun, but I get all my playing I need for
Yep.
other events. It's just the headache of playing in tournaments is not worth it. I'd rather just have people call me judge and then tell them they're playing the game wrong, or tell them they're playing it right, or walking over with a ruler and letting them play Chaos Twister. That's always fun.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've like said I want to maybe be a judge in like a game maybe at some point. I'm just like I'm at the point where like I know enough rules in games to where I can usually tell like where like what stuff is and can usually come to fairly logical conclusions just from how things are. Obviously, yeah, still have to look through some stuff every once in a while, which is still the.
It's the right time. It's the right time to learn the game. Like I wanted to be a Magic judge for a while, and it's just a lot, man. The comprehensive rulebook in Magic is like almost 300 pages at this point. It's a lot of rules. It's a lot of things to learn.
A couple years ago, I tried to read all the rules in Magic, and yeah, I at some point was just like, "What am I doing?"
They release too many cards, too many mechanics. You know, yes, at the end of the day, everything's just kicker or horsemanship, but like.
That's in my description of of my channel. It's math is for blockers and storm count. Everything is horsemanship and kicker, and mana is for dorks.
Yeah, like that's true. That is what Magic really boils down to.
Yeah.
It's really funny when you like a new set comes out, you read the mechanics, you're like, oh, this is just kicker.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I just paid an additional cost of just all right, do this, do the thing, cool.
Yeah. But like sorcery, it's one set a year. We're still discussing things, and sorcery is kind of fun because it's not meant to be this well-oiled machine. It's meant to be you're at a kitchen table and you're playing a game and making stuff up. Is what it's meant to be. So it's a fun challenge for the judges to be like, okay, so how should this work? How nitty-gritty are we going to get? Like we were just having a discussion today on Rubble. We're 2 years into the game and we're still discussing if smokestacks works with Rubble. That was a fun discussion today.
Like I try to look at the rules and questions and stuff tab, and I'm always like, all right, I could probably answer like some of these, and because they're like just really simple stuff, but then some of them I'm like, oh, it probably is this, and then somebody's like, well, actually, it's this, but then it's also this, and
yeah, it's fun. It's crazy. Like the most complicated things in sorcery have to do with Enchantress and Shark, and that's because auras make things complicated, and Shark interrupts movement, which is a headache.
Yeah, because then it's like, all right, it interrupts the movement, then does the thing, all right, but then where does it slot into place on how it? Yeah.
If you're looking for a cool read, the unofficial comprehensive rulebook for sorcery is written by the judge team. We have a lot of stuff to update in our backlog. The guy who writes all of it has a very busy life. He actually used to be designer for Eric's Curiosa. Ira's a great man. If you ever get a chance to play him or meet him, he's an amazing dude. He stepped away from EC for a couple of reasons, but the biggest one was just his personal life was very hectic at the time, and so he just took a step down. He's still great terms with everyone, which is fantastic. He's actually still a moderator for the main sorcery for the main league. He runs Gen Con for Eric's Curiosa and all that stuff, but he's got a small bit of a backlog on the rules to add that us judges have clarified and made in our own little Discord that we have. But.
Because I know another reason why I also stepped down from Magic too is because I've been looking more into like a lot of people have been posting a lot of videos about a bunch of different of the new cards from I think it was not Bloomburrow, the Duskmourn is what the new set.
Duskmourn.
Yeah. And there was one card that they were like, it's until the set is released, like literally even judges don't know because there are 3 interactions that could happen with the card, and they just don't know. There isn't a rule in place for it to work, and it's like Magic has been here for what, like 30 years, and they still don't know what this is gonna be, just because they're like, oh, this probably works like this, and then it never made it actually to playtesting. They're like, just ship it, and
Yeah.
they don't have actual people sitting there going, well, what about this? And then they go, well, here you go. Here's a new rule.
Sounds like a Tuesday for the sorcery people.
Oh, because it's a card that says like it has all it has all, I think, abilities of cards not named that card. So it's like, all right, that makes sense. You know, as long as it doesn't have the name of that card, then that, because there aren't a lot of abilities that really do that and stuff. So all right, everything works. Except there are cards that say it enters the battlefield as a copy of a creature, but except it has its original name.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right,
everyone has this. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, all right, so it has its own ability, but then how many times do you repeat that ability? Because you've now created an infinite of it checks itself, which gives it its ability again, but checks itself. So does it only get one instance of it? Does it get infinite instances of it? Or does it just break entirely? How does it work? And yeah, they're trying to figure that out. I'm just like, this is a headache, and I already get enough headaches from work. Having people be like, hey, I need all these parts, and it's like, well, it says it's here, but it also says it's not here. But because parts department is so much fun. Ugh.
Sorcery's got some. We've had some fun rules. I'm excited for all the headache that's going to happen in a week. I'm actually really looking forward to it. I think it's really fun when we get to see all the new cards. Everyone's theory crafting, because like the playtest team and the design team for Sorcery is really small, so they're not going to catch everything. Like, hopefully we catch a lot of things, but and then it's just like you see any of the Merlin debate that was going on.
Every single time I see the word Merlin, I'm like, all right, let's see
really
what's
fun.
going on there.
I looked at that card, and I'm now at a point where I read sorcery cards like sorcery cards. I don't look at it with the tint of Magic. Like, I only use my Magic knowledge when we're trying to figure out how a card works when it's not working.
Yeah.
So I read the card and was like, oh, this makes sense. You can look at any time and cast spells when you can normally cast spells. That makes sense. Not cast spells at any time. There are no instant seed effects in sorcery. You don't get that. Although, actually,
there's the dodge and roll. Okay, I think that's the only one that's
quick magic. And there's one, and I hope at bare minimum, I hope if they're going to continue doing quick magic, it's one card a year. It's one card a set.
Agreed. Just so we're not sitting there being like, all right, how do these interact with each other?
Yeah. I want to continue playing sorcery with a chess clock. And if they keep adding instant spells, it makes it hard to play with the chess clock.
I'm like, I've never played like Blitz chess, or like I could play like Blitz Magic or something, but like, oh my god, with a chess clock, I'd be sitting there like, all right, let's just do something.
You can't do a chess clock in Magic. There's too many times where your opponent could respond. In Sorcery, if the opponent has to think about defending, you pass it over to them, or you pause the clock, let them figure it out. Like, it's very simple, but but bullet sorcery is what me and a couple people that play occasionally when we meet in person call it. It's a lot of fun. You get 5 minutes. It's 5 minutes plus 3 per move, or 3 per draw, 3 per turn. So you get 3 extra seconds every time it's your turn, which that kind of accounts for drawing. It is expected of both players to help the other person untap their stuff, to not waste either person's time.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. It's extremely stressful. You can do a lot of sorcery in 5 minutes, but it is extremely stressful. Like, the opening turns is draw, play site, pass, draw. Like, the first couple, you're gaining time on the first couple of turns, and then it becomes like, oh god, what am I doing? I have 20 creatures out on the field. How am I supposed
I can't spend 2 seconds just like playing a site. No. I gotta spend like 20 seconds. Oh no, but I've spent 20 seconds now trying to figure out what I'm gonna do. Oh, what am I?
it gives me the same amount of anxiety as I have playing bullet chess, which is 1 minute, 1 minute chess. I have the same level of anxiety playing that in bullet sorcery. It's a blast. I love it. I'll do it anytime. I'll be playing a lot at Sorcery Con here in a month. Um, me and my fellow judge Zach will just, when we're not judging, we'll be playing. We'll either be deck building, brewing decks, or we'll just be playing bullet sorcery. Uh,
Yeah, because like even in chess, it's even like you're sitting there and you have like both players basically have like one hand on the clock, one hand out, where they're just sitting there like looking like they're reaching over each other, like knocking over pieces, trying to pick them back up, trying to move them all around, and then suddenly it's just like, all right, game, and it's like, what happened? Like I've
yeah,
just spent not even 2 minutes of my life trying to figure out what's been going on. They've been playing a whole game of chess with all different lines and things, and trying to imagine playing sorcery like that is just
it's fun. It's not for beginners.
no, no.
It's not. Sorcery has a really fascinating playtime graph. I think if you're new to sorcery, your playtime is really high. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
take a long time. Your matches are going to be an hour to 2 hours as you're kind of all you're thinking about it. As you get better at sorcery, you cut that time down. I honestly think like once you've been playing sorcery enough, your average game should only take you about 10 to 15 minutes per
I'm like, yeah.
player.
I was gonna say yeah, 10 to 15 minutes because like yeah, with my buddy and I, even though since yeah he's not as much of a card gamer as I am. Yeah, our first games were taking those like 2 hour games where we're just like, what is going on? I don't like constantly referencing the rule book, trying to figure things out. And now I think we've cut them down to like around the 30-40 minutes, but in general it tends to be a lot of like we're also doing other things too, so it's
Yeah, yeah. Um,
that's the joy
but
of it
then
too, because yeah,
so
while you're
it really
playing you
hurt.
could just do
Yeah, you
whatever.
can have a conversation while
Yeah,
playing. I love chatting with my opponent while playing. It probably pissed off a lot of my opponents when I was at tournaments for sorcery because I don't need to think. I know what my deck's doing. I know like all the cards
yeah.
by heart just because I've been playing long enough that I know what my opponent's probably doing, all that stuff. So I'm just striking up casual conversation, with just like holding my cards, just having a good time. Um, but then I think once you hit a certain point in sorcery, you actually start going back up in taking time, especially certain like high level play, where when both you and your opponent have extensive knowledge of the game, you're like it becomes the chess problem where you're looking and you're planning moves ahead. You're planning
Playing
your
like 10
opponent's
moves
moves.
ahead, yeah.
Yeah. And so your game that you both got down to, if you really just played fast, you could probably knock a game out in 15 minutes. Um, is now going to take you 40, 90 minutes. And this is bringing back to a previous point of best of 3 in sorcery. Why we aren't seeing best of 3 is because on average a game takes people 30 minutes to play around. 30 40 minutes to play around,
Mm-hmm.
and we're so conditioned in our card game tournament structure to do 50 minutes. It's Everyone does 50 minutes. I think Fab maybe does an hour, does 55 or an hour, but like we're so conditioned to do like 6 rounds of Swiss or 6 rounds of whatever, round robin, and then do a top cut where you're like, yeah, of course we can't do best of one, and like we have to do best of one in sorcery because our one game takes 50 minutes.
Yeah,
Um, I
because
think
in
if we
because in
saw,
other games, yeah, it takes let's say 15 minutes to play one game. You could play 3 games and have 5 minutes of shuffling your deck, maybe a little extra time. But then if somebody else is just inherently winning, you can maybe take 2 games that last the 25 minutes or so. But
yeah,
yeah, this game just takes much longer.
it takes much longer, and I don't think we'll see best of 3 in sorcery unless people do specific best of 3 events where they're like, hey guys, we're doing a whole weekend, like we're going from like 10 to 10. We'll play like 3/4 of our games. Then the next morning we'll go from like 10 to 2. We'll play the last quarter of the games, and then we'll go to top cut. Which I think is fine. And sorcery Sorcery is doing things that other TCGs are not. Let's not model what we do off of other TCGs. Let's model off of Sorcery. What does Sorcery want to do? What does the community want to do? Do we want to move it to best of three? Do we want to do best of two? Like best of two is a fun structure where you go off. You have to do a point system where like a win is 1 point. If you win both games, you get like a 2.5 points. It's a good way to do it. It causes some problems early on, but those are people to figure that out. But like best of two, you do 30-minute games. You add a timer to your game. So hey, you have an hour to play 2 games. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty reasonable. It lets sideboarding become a thing again. Because if you were to do best of three, I'd say you want to do 90-minute rounds, and that's just a lot of ask. Like no LGS is going to have a sorcery night that starts at 7 p.m. and does 90-minute rounds. Like you're only going to get 2 games in before they close.
I'm like, yeah, it would definitely be a struggle, and I feel like the more and more the people get into this, then yeah, they'll maybe push for a lot more of that, but that might even be more delegating towards like the higher ends of play too, like maybe have because there's what's it called, the pools, I think is what they call the just like cut, like trimming the fat kind of deal, just like all right, you're getting to your actual like top players, maybe have those be like either best of one or best of two, over course of even like a couple weeks or so, just trimming them down, and then all right, this one weekend streaming the whole things, all right, it's just like the top 32 players, something,
Yeah.
we're cranking them out.
So the TTS league, where I think we had like almost 200 people play at least 2 games. I think in this last season of the TTS league, it's a great place. Honestly, it's free. You can get. We do participation award. We randomly raffle off if you played 6 games. You're entered in for the participation. I think I won like 2 packs. I didn't place that well. I average about 4-4 in my league games, but depends on the season. There have been times where I went 7-1, but it's completely free. It's a great way to play. It's super casual. It's like, hey, play 8 games over 6 weeks, 6 or 8 weeks, and so all those are best of one. And there's always talks every single season when Top Cut happens to switch to Top Cut to be best of three, or maybe do like the top four be best of three, or just the finals be best of three. There's always talks about that every single season. I think right now, because Ira runs that, I think Ira is keeping with best of one for now. I think maybe in a season or two we might retry best of three with AL, but we'll find out. Yeah, the season hasn't started yet. We're waiting for AL to come out. I think signups will happen about a week after AL, or at least once the TTS mod has been updated, is when we'll start signups again for season 6.
TTS being Tabletop Simulator?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, because I need to get my Tabletop Simulator all set up, because I want to be able to play more, and because I used to do like a lot more Magic stuff, been able to go to a lot more stuff, and being able to have this just on Tabletop Sim just is awesome.
It's great.
Yes.
It's free. The mod is ran by Eric Curiosa. It's fantastic. It's the best. It's not the best way to play. Paper's the best way to play.
Yeah.
But it's the second best way to play. It is the only other way to play. But it's once you get past the jank that is Tabletop Simulator, it's a blast. You just gotta hop in a Discord call with someone and just jam out, play games.
Because even my buddy lives like 20-25 minutes away, and he's like, hey, let's hop on Tabletop Sim and let's start doing this. And I'm like, well, gotta get everything set up, and I need to actually understand it, because I have it because my buddy wanted to start playing Warhammer on it, and I just that involves a lot of like downloading all these files and like importing them and choosing, and
Sorcery on TTS, super easy. You download you subscribe to the mod. It's on your TTS. The only buttons you need is your mouse, Q and E, R and F. That's all you're gonna use. You might use like Shift or Alt occasionally, but that's all the buttons you're gonna need. Like R shuffles your deck, F flips cards over, Q and E is used to tap. You can use shift right click to put cards on the bottom of your deck. Oh, and your numpads. You hover over your deck, you hit one, you draw one card. Like that's it. You're just playing the game. You just instead of physically putting your cards down, use a mouse. Or if you have
Yeah.
VR, you could physically put your cards down.
I'm like, because I do have a VR headset. The only problem is it's just the all the software and stuff. It's a little too much for all my systems. It, but it would be super fun to get into that, and especially once Ale comes out. That's why I I want to try to get all the like rating all the elements and stuff, at least from alpha and beta, out before it comes out, just so like as soon as AL comes out, like it is go time. I'm immediately just like, all right, I'm pumping out hot takes immediately. Like I just want to go through every single card in like one stream and just be like, all right, sucks, awesome, broken, like just keep going through, because I know I know 100% I'm gonna get stuff wrong, and like
Oh,
that's just the love of
Cla-
it.
yeah. I always bring this up to new players. Look up Chorus and Kobolds. I'd like to. It's a fire card. I know we want to get to air, but I want to hear your thoughts on Chorus and
Uh, so like yeah, I look at this card and am just like I or another target like I don't like this card.
Yeah, it feels bad, huh?
Yeah.
It doesn't look good. Everyone thought this card was garbage when Sorcery came out. Um, and then me and Zack Attack started just discussing and playing one day, and we're like, oh my god, Kobolds is just violent but better. And it's yeah, there are times when you play it, you're gonna sack 2 health on yourself, but it's the turn it comes in, it does 2 damage to something adjacent to it. Um, and it's a strike effect. So if you give it a sword, it now does splash damage on top of that. It's Corson Cobalt is a 3 mana beat stick, and it's phenomenal. The card plays way better than it reads. It punches way above its class, but the Corson Cobalt is a classic sorcery card that you read it and you're like, this card's trash. It hurts itself. Why would I play it? And then you play a few games and you're just like, oh, this is really good.
I mean, because like even on like on rate or something, if you know turn 3 play this, turn 4 play your sword. I mean, yeah, now you have an on rate 3/3 with an upside that is just
Yeah.
good.
Well, even without it, he's dealing 4 damage a turn if he ends up adjacent to an avatar. You attack the site for 2, and then you end your turn and you deal two unavoidable damage, to your opponent's avatar. Um, it is phenomenal. It's really good. It's a card that you read, you're like, this is bad, and then this is the fun thing about sorcery. You have to play every card.
Yeah.
Like every card is playable. Well, to an extent. I still think Cyclops is a trash card, and I will die on the hill that it is the worst card in the game. It's not. I'd probably say that's Battering Ram, but like
Oh yes,
Cyclops
yes.
is
I hate battering ram. Like I've already recorded all my artifact stuff, and I was like, all right, I need to get through these as quick as I possibly can. And I got to battering ram, and it was just like, I cannot explain to words like how
bad it is.
yeah, just why would you play this? Why would you use this? Like there's even the niche of the niche is just so like you don't even want it as a tech card. Just play anything else that's a tech
Yeah.
card.
I can't wait. I can't wait for the day where Battering Ram becomes meta. I can't wait. I can't wait till we get a bunch of broken walls, or we get an avatar that animates artifacts like Enchantress. Gross Poltergeist, but that on an avatar I think would be really cool. Um, like if we get that, I'm ready for the day that Battering Ram goes from being like the worst card in the game to be like this is meta viable, because it'll happen one day.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh,
have
it
no
will.
doubt. I have like Cyclops. People always tell me, "Hey, Cyclops is great in draft and limited." It is. It's a 6 for 6. That's fantastic. if I see someone play this card
Constructed.
in constructed, what are you doing? He
Yeah.
dies, like I get to punch him for free. Like it's so bad. uh,
I mean, yeah. I think I even I don't remember if this is in the pre-con or if I managed to pull one of these when we were doing our sealed stuff, but I immediately was like, I'm just, when do I want to play this?
Never. The
Like,
answer is never.
yeah, like, because you don't want to play it as a defensive card. You want to play it as an offensive card, but even then, just run
It dies to
something else.
three. It dies to 3 2-power minions. And they keep all their minions. It's sad. It
Yeah.
sucks. But it's still a 6-power minion. It's still
Yeah.
pretty good. Like, but every card game's got to have bad niche cards. But like, okay, 2 battered rams. Point. It doesn't just destroy walls. It does destroy monuments, and there are some good monuments. None of them are monumental at the moment. I think the most notable monuments is Chains of Prometheus, Belfry. Belfry at some point is going to be really good. Like those two, totally worth maybe running a battering ram. I don't know why you would main board battering ram, but like
No.
it's
But yeah, like because I don't know if you follow it a lot either, but I know I follow Hearthstone as well, just because. Oh, but it was because even when you were talking about the timer and stuff, and at some point you get to like such a strong like position how you are in tournaments and things, you start to take a little bit longer on your turns just because like the skill ceiling is so high to where you're like, all right, I need to spend the time to do this. So you even see like in Hearthstone tournaments too, like in the top level play, you have a rope that it lasts I want to say it's 75 or like 90 seconds or something, and that's how long your turn is, and at some point, yeah, the rope will pop up and start being like, hey, maybe you need to keep going on your turn, and the whole time it'll be like, all right, it'll be turn 2 or 3, and people are already roping, just being like, all right, I'm thinking about like, all right, these are the things that they have done. What are the possibly different decks they're playing? Even for them to just be like, all right, I'm gonna click my hero power, which is something that each of your heroes are able to do. They most of them cost 2 mana, but like yeah, it just all right, click it. I gain 2 armor. Cool. It's like you spent all this time to just do nothing, basically. And even there's the bad cards that turn good. I mean, there's so many different like just this card completely sucks. Like there's one, it's called like a peasant farmer or something. I think it's I don't remember if it was a 1 or 2 mana. It was a 1/1 in it because it kind of has the stats of magic. But it's a 1/1 that whenever it attacks, deal 2 damage to enemy hero. And at first, everybody's like, this card sucks. It dies to everything. Maybe you can get 3 damage off sometimes, but then it immediately dies. And then there happened to be a combo, I think I want to say it was 2/2, then the 1. So oh my god, math is hard. I think it was 8 mana. Yeah, 8 mana because Hysteria was then 3 mana at the time. It specified whenever it attacks, it deals 2 damage to it. So what you did was you made it have 0 attack and be immune so that it cannot take any damage. So then it can't deal damage or take damage, and then you force it to attack all minions until it dies. So it can't die, it can't deal any damage, and then it just attacks everything, constantly dealing 2. And this 8 mana just suddenly really jank, weird deck just started being like super meta, started just destroying the game, and then they had to nerf like I think they had to nerf 2 cards from it just because they were like, this is just ugh. So yeah, like something like Cyclops can maybe eventually like
hey,
you know,
it
the
plus
battering
grapple
ram.
shot. It plus grapple shot. 12
Yeah.
damage. Pretty good.
I mean, hey,
like
yeah,
it's just my little meme with some people that are like, it's such a bad card.
yeah. I can completely agree with you on that. I mean, even I hate to even keep bringing up Magic, but it's been my life for the past like 10 years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that's why I say in order my favorite cards are air, fire, water, earth. Just because, air. I love playing the game. Play cards, do the thing, and I am playing the game, and my opponent's just doing whatever they're doing. Just let me play the game. But then fire is always just because like red in Hearthstone is either super broken or it does nothing. It's it's either super aggressive and just keeps pushing in damage, or it is just the worst color in a set. It's awesome. Water is always just the all right. It's gonna be kind of
Water
controlly, but sometimes
Water ran
aggressive.
into the problem this in alpha and beta that literally I counted 50% of the cards care about having water sites, the other 50 don't. Um, I hope AL doesn't care as much about water sites. Um, I do think water is going to get a huge buff in AL, which is going to make playing the side that cares about water sites actually better, because if your opponents are playing water, you don't have to try as hard. Um, but I love water. I used to be like everyone. I just think water bad. Um, but
Like I don't
then I
think
really
water's
start.
bad. It's just it it runs into that problem of it either has the not fun mechanic of like no nobody's playing the game because I want to play the game, or it just feels bad of like all right I'm
Well,
just gonna.
it only has one of those cards. Atlantean Fate is the one like no one's playing the game. Um, but water's a lot of fun. Water does a lot of cool
Yeah.
things. I love water. It's great. It is. I think water is the best secondary element.
Yes,
Um,
I can agree with that. Yes.
um, but yeah, you wanted to see some air cards?
I'm like yeah we totally can, but yeah with my earth it's just a personal just I
I
cannot.
I hopped into the game where the game's meta was Earth Air mid range. It's not fun. It's good. It's good. Like everyone played Avatar of Earth. She smacked in for a lot. It sucked. It wasn't fun. So for the longest time, I didn't play Earth. I've started to play Earth from time to time. Um, I'll do Earth in like draft and sealed because
Mhm.
Earth's good. Earth's a great element.
Yeah.
It's just green in Magic, so
Yeah.
it's big boys that beat people up. Um, it's really good. But like Earth has some also really cool utility cards. I like playing Earth's utility. Tangle Terrain is a phenomenal aura.
I'm like I keep because I whenever we did the with sealed stuff, I think I played Earth Air a bit. One of them just because it happened to work, and yeah,
Yeah, it's
it
good.
tangled
Earth Air's
just
gross.
oh it's. I mean even my buddy he just happened. I managed to just. I don't even know how I managed to do it, but I managed to get literally all of his minions just clumped into a 2x2 area, and just went, all right, well,
Earthquake.
well, I just went, all right, everything's disabled for 3 turns, and just went,
And Tangle Terrain. Love it.
yes,
I love. Oh, it's such a good card.
and it's, yeah, my only problem with Earth is I'm trying to get out of that like Timmy mindset of just like, oh, I'm gonna play big, big creature, go bonk. And I get that since there's so like limited amount of cards, then yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna end up
The
being
big
that.
creature go bonk is actually water, except for Earth is slightly smaller big creatures that are cheaper go bonk, which is why Earth is really good. Because the strongest minions in the game are in water.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, great old one. It's literally the.
Yeah, it's a great beat stick. But yeah, no, I want to hear your thoughts on some air cards. And I'll chime in. I'll chime in where I'd probably put them.
All right, yeah, because seeing how we've been we've been live for
An
what?
hour and a half?
Yeah, an hour and 20 minutes, which is perfectly fine. I do not mind this at all because that's just I like
It's
to hear
Sorcery,
people's
man.
thoughts. Yeah,
I
and
want to talk about Sorcery. It's a fun game.
I'm like, yeah, you have to be able to talk about things because that's the whole point. Is just some of these cards just don't work, so you kind of gotta just talk it over and just be like, well, this card good, well, this card not so good. I mean, I will be a diehard tried and true. Like, I understand that Angel's Egg right now is a good card just because of how limited stuff is. I don't think Angel's Egg will be good for very long.
I disagree. Uh,
And
healing and sorcery is so
I mean,
good.
it is a premium, but
Like
yeah,
once, if we had a turbo aggro game, Angel's Egg will stop being good. Um, mid Angel's Egg also suffers a little bit in mid range. It kind of depends. Like if you play Angel's Egg, you're probably not winning, but there are times where it's good. But it's Angel's Egg. I think is a very classic middle of the road card. I think it's got a lot of highs. I've also drawn Angel's Egg when I'm on Death's Door. It does nothing for me.
yeah. I'm like, it was just one of those cards that I'm looking at it and I'm like, I can understand because I always any single thing that's just like, all right, you gain a bunch of life, you basically can time walk yourself, just like, all right, gain an extra turn. I understand that over the course of it, then yeah, it gives you a lot of life.
On average, me and my friend for a while were counting how much it heals you throughout the game. On average, Angel Egg heals you anywhere from 5 to 10 health a game, depending when you play it, which is a very good rate. But like if you get 2 Angel's Eggs out there, you're healing 4 health a turn. That's turning off minions.
Yeah,
and it's Angel's Egg is the bane of all burn decks, but it's fine. It
agreed.
Is what it is.
I'm like, yeah, that's why I was like, I think at some point it will either be power crept or there will inevitably come a point where there either will be better cards or you don't want it in there, or it's maybe you play like a one-off or something. But I'm just all right, guys, healing is fine and healing, yeah, but at the same time, that's why I'd rather play the one mana heal 7.
Divine Healing?
Yeah.
The card that should have stayed in a unique.
Yes.
It used to be unique in playtesting. It should have stayed that way.
Is it elite right now?
No, it's exceptional. You can run 3 in your deck.
Who thought that was a good idea?
It's kind of annoying because it breaks the cycle. Every single element has a 1 cost, 3 threshold card with a 7 in it. And all of them were unique at one point. Divine Healing got buffed from being an exception, from being a unique to an exceptional. I think out of the 4, they should have done Incinerate. No, Immolate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they should have done that one because that card only hits minions, so it's not that good. It never sees play. I wish it hit units. If you're gonna make it a unique, let me do 7 damage to someone's face.
Yeah, that's because that would be exactly on rate for like, all right, you're gonna divine healing. All right, I'm gonna get rid of that.
Yeah. But it is what it is. I don't think you should ever run 3 divine healings in a deck. Yeah. If you're relying on divine healing, you're not winning.
Yeah. I think two of them, at least in 40-20, I think 2 of them would be fine. I think once we go to 50-30, I can maybe see if you're trying to go a little bit more control-y in a way, but
I think if the meta is mid-range, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
To do that. It'll be fascinating. I'm really excited to see the game. I'm hoping the game shifts back to mid-range. We're kind of more in an aggro game right now. At least in the GTS League, what a lot of people are talking about playing. But that's the fun thing. Sorcery doesn't really have a meta. We don't have enough players. We don't have 10,000 people playing
daily,
daily trying to figure out the deck. The meta has changed every season of like what wins, which is very cool and very fascinating. But yeah, I'm excited to hear your thoughts on this Apprentice Wizard.
Oh yeah, all right. So Apprentice Wizard, good. Like it's just, good card. Being able to replace itself while also being a spellcaster and being 1 power, just good. I think it's definitely. I wouldn't say auto include, but definitely like a just good card. You won't feel bad for playing this card.
Yeah. I've started taking them out of my decks. I keep them in Death Speaker, because it's really good in Death Speaker. It's 3 mana. You draw a card for 3. It's kind of on par rate for the game, um, for at least for a minion. And then when it dies, I get to do it again. It's great. I love it. Um, but I don't like it in some other air decks because it's 3 mana, and 3 mana is kind of a lot. It's a lot of mana. Until you're in a game where you're playing 6, 7 sites, 3 mana is a lot. But I think it's good. I agree. It's definitely not an auto include. Um, then I say it's an ordinary, so you can run 4 of them in a deck. I'm like an E to S tier rank. I'd probably put it at B.
Oh yeah, because I usually do the typical, like, what was it? Because yeah, if we wanted to do, instead of F, do it E, then yeah, I'd say yeah, then yeah, it's a solid B card. It's because it's, you don't feel bad for playing it, but then yeah, sometimes you don't really need it.
They do a lot though. 1 damage, honestly, they just ignore it. 1 damage is a lot. It's a lot of it. It's just, 1 damage a turn adds up.
Blink, the other end, like if we're gonna do rating for it, because yeah, what I say for things like good, good, like good, bad, great, all that, just kind of
I'll
whatever.
go with that.
Like,
I think whenever your Avatar video, you gave them a letter grade for the
I
avatars.
yeah, I think I did give them a letter grade. But yeah, sometimes, like, if I say something is broken, yeah, S tier. If something is great, then yeah, A tier. Then like good, B tier. Then like is C tier, and then it's bad, D tier, and then sucks is E,
Okay.
F tier. Yeah,
We can go with that.
yeah. Which
I have a lot of those strong opinions on cards.
yeah, I do have strong opinions on cards too, which may get to some of them. But yeah, Blink, I think, is, I would argue, fine in Spark Mage. Other than that, I would say not as good. So I think it's more of like a C tier card.
I think Blink goes from good to great. It is, I think, the second best cantrip in the game. I think Riptide situationally is a better one depending on the deck. Blink is phenomenal in, like you said, Spark Mage. It's necessary in
Avatar of Air?
Pathfinder.
Yeah, Pathfinder.
It's necessary in AOE decks that run air. Basically, if you're wanting anything to be mobile, you want Blink. And at the end of the day, it's a cantrip. Like, you move slightly out of the way. I'd probably, on any given day, probably say it's a great card.
All right.
The mobility aspect of it is the fact that it teleports nearby is huge. You can go in from sites 18, so 18, 8 or 13, the two middle. Can't really point. The two middle sites, going from there to a back corner is huge.
I mean, yes, I can understand. I do run them in quite basically every air deck that I play in, and just because it's not a bad card to play at all. Which I don't know why I put in C. I'm like, it is cantrip.
It's anywhere from good to great.
Yeah, because it replaces itself. It just bit of mobility. Yeah, I can get behind it, 100%. Yeah, I have some harsh opinions on vampires. So Blood Ravens, just mostly because of trauma from playing Pauper in Magic. I hate anything that flies and has lifesteal, or lifelink, or whatever you want to call it. It's Blood Ravens. I don't know. I'll fight people on that. I don't enjoy it. I don't think it's great. I think it would be I think just because it heals you, I could say a C if you wanted to, but a harsh opinion is I think this is a D tier.
No, I agree with you. So, the problem with Blood Ravens, is it will always die. Uh, it will only ever heal you one unless you attack a zero power minion, um, because you don't heal from striking sights. Because you don't strike sights. Um, Blood Raven, it's a blocker that heals you one. That's
Yeah.
it. I if anything, it's D. It could be worse. It could be a step lower. It's um yeah, that's kind of where Blood Ravens ends at.
Oh, I'm
It's
like, yeah, now that you reminded me of it, only dealing damage to units, then yeah, that's yeah.
yeah. Well, you only
D.
strike units. You don't strike sites. You
Yeah.
cause loss of life.
Yeah. Which yeah, I need to ingrain that in my brain because
Yeah. Biggest rule stains that you need to ingrain. There is no such thing as a ranged attack. Range is a tap ability. It's
mm-hmm,
not an attack ability.
mm-hmm.
Um,
It's a projectile
and yeah,
that only
it shoots a project.
that only goes the number of
Yeah,
ranged it is.
it used to do something different, but uh,
Really?
before the beginning of this year, in the version 1.0 rulebook, the alpha and beta release rulebooks, um, ranged, you picked what you shot, and it was really good. You targeted within a range of you within you targeted something adjacent to the thing, and it hit it. So you could shoot over people. Range plus X was so good. Now that it shoots a projectile, it's kind of trash, but it's still good. It just can never hit stealth units anymore, which is why True Sight Crossbow doesn't really work anymore with the projectile rule. It worked how ranged used to work, where you picked the thing you shot. Well, actually, you specifically targeted. So True Sight Crossbow actually let you hit things with stealth with range. No longer does, because stealth is immune to projectiles. Um,
So now that it has ranged and can target stealth, so it,
no,
I'm
you
guessing
can
they
target
rugged it.
stealth. You can target stealth. Range shoots a projectile. That is not targeting. So True Sight Crossbow does not allow you to hit stealth units with the ranged ability. It does let you attack stealth units, and it does let you cast magic that hit stealth units, because both those are targeting effects, but range is not. Range does not target anymore.
Ah, I see. Okay. Then yeah, I might actually go back and bump that down a little bit because I didn't realize that that's how that worked.
Yeah, the card used to work very well, and now it just kind of lets you attack stealth, which is cool. And lets Battle Mage get through Gnome Hollows, which is also good.
Well, browse, great.
Mm-hmm.
Never bad to play. Honestly, like this is like if you draw this, it's going to be good. It allows you to dig even further, get the exact card you need. Because even like I've said, I said with whenever I was rating Seer as well, it was just like you never. Sometimes you just kind of gotta get like that slightly worse card in the current situation just because it's that good. Like, and drawing was because drawing cards is just good, and being able to see the top 7 spells, being able to choose one of them to go in your hand is never bad.
It's great.
Yeah,
it's so good. It's Browse is phenomenal. There's nothing more to say.
Candlemoss Monks. All right, I'd almost like if you're about to say that this is anything like above a certain point, you might have to actually fight me on it. I don't think this should ever be played.
Okay, so there's one exception. I agree, except for one thing. Look up Crave Golem.
Crave Golem. Here, let me just. Oh. Crave Golem.
Yeah.
Oh, I know this card. I don't like this card.
Okay, so click on Crave Golem. Look at its FAQ. Scroll down.
Oh my god.
Oh, it has a lot. So one of these FAQs specifies that Crave Golem's allowed to attack its allies, which um, I forget which one. But so Crave Golem one is the only card in the game that can attack without using the move and attack ability, and it's the only card in the game that can attack your allies. So it's called a snacks. It's called the snacks combo. It's Crave Golem plus Candlemass Monks, and it makes your opponent lose their turn. Um, because Crave Golem triggers on their start of turn. Its start of turn kills your monks, ending their turn. So you just time walked. Congratulations. Welcome to the monks. Welcome to the snacks deck.
What?
And the snacks deck is built to constantly bring back Candlemass Monks
Death Speak.
and Crave Golems.
Not Death Speaker. Because freaking Raised Dead is air.
It's not with Death Speaker. You can't.
Yeah. I'm talking about Raised Dead, right?
Oh yeah, Raised Dead. Yeah. So it's bad. Candlemass Monks is bad in every other deck, but with Crave Golem, because then it's time walking. It's actually time walking. It's actually you take an extra turn, and if you set it up right, you take like 4 extra turns, and you'll win. Honestly, taking 2 extra turns in Sorcery kind of just wins you the game.
Yeah.
It's extremely repressive.
That's okay. On a scale from jank to a tier 1, how would you rate that deck?
There was 2 versions of it in the TTS League this year, last season. It's
tier 2
until it works. The moment it works, it's tier
1. I'm like, that describes a lot of my commander decks. Actually, it's just like, all right, it doesn't do a whole lot, and everybody would be looking at me being like, what the heck are you doing? And then like, oh cool, I win. It's like, no, you don't. Stop. And I'm like, no, watch, and I just win the game. Like,
yeah, no. Snacks is really good. It's so yeah. Monks is not good until you have Crave Golem.
Yeah.
And then it's time walk. So
and yeah, you can do that turn 4.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I would doubt you'd want to do that turn 4, just because, like, what cards would you be having out, at that point? That, I mean,
your opponent's tapped out. Like,
but yeah, they are tapped out.
It's on the best early. Usually you'll play it kind of make it. Ira still has this deck private. It's a cool deck. It's a cool little deck that runs Crave Golem and Monks. Yeah, because you can run 3 Raised Deads. So at most you can do this 6, 7 times. No, 5 times.
5 times.
So
yeah.
You can take 5 extra turns.
So in the nuts, yeah, you win the game. Like, yeah. It's not even a no. Hear me out. Like, I'm gonna do a whole lot. All right, your move and do something. No. This is a straight up like, all right, if it works, yeah, I win the game.
Yeah, it's very good.
Chain Lightning, good card. I think it could definitely, it definitely has its place, and especially if we see a lot if once Ale comes out and we start seeing more like token sort of decks come out, a lot more of those like really low to the ground, just beater sort of thing. Not beater, because beater talks about big minions. We're talking about, the more swarm.
Go wide.
Kind of, yeah, go wide. Then they'll definitely see a lot more play. But yeah, I think it's a good card.
Chain Lightning's great. It's 2 for 2. Spark Mage is actually a 2 for 4, which is really good. So when it comes to burn and air, I rate everything on a Spark Mage scale of how good is it in Spark Mage, and if the answer is great, it's a good card.
I mean, yeah. No wonder this
is ridiculous. Like that's very good. Like, and it targets, which is great because it means you don't have protection from it on Death's Door. This is a win card on Death's Door.
Mm-hmm.
When your opponent's on Death's Door, which is always good. It's a death blow card, and that's so good. Every deck needs death blow cards. It's why minion only decks don't work in Sorcery. So
I know. I built one and was like,
yeah,
man, this
we've
sucks.
all tried.
Yeah.
Everyone's tried. Like, yeah, like
You need at least
I
a spell just to boop. All right, done.
Yeah,
Or
I
get rid of
still think 40 Grey Wolves is a good deck. It loses to 1 Gnome Hollows or 1
Grim Reaper. Yeah.
But
then hey, at that point, like, kudos to that guy. All right.
yeah.
But yeah. All right. Chaos Twister. Okay. Because of the fact that I'm pretty sure I learned it's just I don't actually know this for certain, but you can target an opponent's minion, right?
Yes.
Then yes, good card. It at minimum destroys one thing, at its most destroys a whole board.
Yeah. It's the best removal spell in the game.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of people's problems with it because it requires you. Hold on, I'm trying to grab my
Requires dexterity.
Sorcery, my ruler that I have. My
You-
official judge chaos ruler.
I'm like, oh yeah, definitely. That's what the ruler's for. You're obviously not, pulling out the rule for specific.
Yeah, so I have my official from the big main sorcery tournament that was here in March in Texas. Was March of the Mortals. My official March of the Mortals chaos ruler. That's actually it's engraved. And then you have my joke ruler from Sorcery Con last year, which on the backside in Sharpie has Chaos Twister. So it's a fun card. If you want to know how it's used in tournaments, you need to read the card's FAQ. If you click on it, it explains exactly how you're supposed to use Chaos Twister.
I'm like,
in
yeah,
a
which
tournament setting.
I'd have to do that.
In TTS, in Tabletop Simulator, we have a button that does that, and that button's data is based off of actual testing that players did. That you can, I think, still send Emberleaf your data. It's basically, hey, blow it 50 times the way you're supposed to. Track where have the same target, track where it goes, get all the stuff so we can properly do it. Chaos Twister has about a 50 to 80% success rate on any given time. So
I'm like, yeah, because like I said, even at minimum, it kills their biggest minion. At its most, it swings at one sided.
At worst, it fizzles and you just wasted 4 mana. But if it doesn't land on the board,
if it doesn't land on a site,
it
doesn't
land on a square, not a site. It's a square. You can land things in the void and it'll banish them.
Oh.
So basically, how Chaos Twister works is you blow it wherever it lands, wherever site, whatever square it lands on, it'll teleport to, and then if it's a site, it'll deal damage to things there. If it's in the void, it will go to the void. If it doesn't have void walk, it gets banished. But if it doesn't land on any of the squares, the spell fizzles, and you just wasted 4 mana.
Oh, so if it blows outside of the board, then it just
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it doesn't land within any of those squares, the spell fizzles. It happens.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, then it would feel bad, and you just wasted 4 mana, but you said it has a good success rate.
It does have a good success rate.
Yeah.
It's a dexterity card. You should practice it. If you're gonna play it, you should practice it.
I don't think we need to go over sites unless you want to go over any of the sites.
Pod City's great. It's a great unique. It's great.
I mean, yeah. This time I fly to a nearby void. I mean, yeah, it's just allows you to get things in. It's kind of summoning sphere, just in a slightly worse summoning sphere, but it's a site. It'll give you air threshold. Yeah, it's good.
If you build your board right, and you get this off early enough, you can get yourself in a position where your opponent can never get to your avatar unless they have an airborne minion or they have a damage spell of some kind.
Which,
So
yeah, good.
it's good.
Cloud Spirits. Uh, I think this is a fine card. I think it's it's just fine. It does what does what it needs to do. I think it's just fairly good, at least especially early game. Can have some late game stuff to it, but in general, it does some damage, moves around the board. Yeah.
It's good in my opinion. I think it's a very good card. In Spark Mage, it's fantastic. It's not broken by any means, but it's really great.
Yeah.
Best part about Cloud Spirit is it can defend anywhere on the board. Because the +2 movement applies to defending, plus airborne, so all that applies to is defending. So you could literally put this anywhere. If you put it in the middle row, it can literally go to any other square in the board in the game, which is great. It's wonderful. It's always good. Early game, it does 2 damage. It beats people up. Late game, it says, I can defend from anywhere.
I have been thoroughly convinced. I agree. Vampires, I hate this card. But I know it. I know it's good.
It's good.
I know it's good.
It deals 4 damage with airborne, so it can't be attacked. And it heals you. It's so good.
I know it's good. I just want to hate this card, but it's just good. The fact that it's 5 mana too is just it is good. It's I want to hate more on it, but it's
it's good. It's good.
But I can't.
Personal feelings aside, it's good.
Yeah. Just all the towers in general. It's it's the basic sites stuff that you get. As a site itself, I definitely think I think it is good, especially because they can't have those swingy turns. I think it's one of the I'd say even slightly better sites, like average sites for the different elements, just because it can get that little push into your later game stuff, but
out of the alpha beta ordinaries, I think it's good. No, I think it's okay. I think people overvalue the towers. I think at best it's okay, and normally it's meh. Like, I feel like very rarely do I want that 1 extra mana. There's a few cases where it's great. If you're like, just the more and more I've played, the more I've been like, I'm rarely wanting to play like above curve. Like, I normally want to be on curve. I normally want to be playing around certain positioning and all this stuff. Like, is it great if you're going second and they can play it and you can bolt them on turn 1? Yeah, it's good. If you can play an apprentice wizard on turn 2, it's fantastic. Like, it's good. But I think people overvalue them. You see them in so many decks that I just find them okay.
Which I can get behind. I definitely can.
We all have our hot takes.
I feel like I'm gonna keep saying, I can get behind it like all night. Dead of Night Demon. I don't think it's that great. It's just it's a card. It's, I think, just a pack filler kind of deal.
It's great in Pauper. Honestly, it's so good.
Oh, I could see, definitely in just only ordinaries. Yeah,
it's so good. It's 2 damage that can't be blocked the first time it attacks. It's very good.
Yeah.
It's good in that one instance. But so many people run stealth hate now. It's a 2 for 2. There are better 2 for 2s. It's a 2 for 2.
Yeah. I think, okay, this is just my hot take on all the, destroy auras and artifacts and stuff. I think it just really depends. I think, like, main deck, no. Like, like I wouldn't run in main deck, but if we're running like with sideboards and stuff, like
Yeah,
the sideboard card. Like
it's the sideboard card. I think it depends on your meta.
Yeah.
If your local meta has an Enchantress player, you should be playing it. If
Yeah.
your local meta has a Battle Mage player that's running minionless Battle Mage, you should be playing it. If if you have players that are constantly running all 4 cores and P stones in their deck, you should be running it.
I am that player.
If you don't have those people in your meta, you shouldn't be running it. It's a one of. I have a one of in my Spark Mage deck, and it's the only deck I think I main board a Disenchant or a Dispel in, because at worst in Spark Mage, it's 1 damage.
Yeah. And then at its best, yeah, you just an Enchantress player just tells you to go F themselves and walks out. Yeah. Dream Quest, I think, is so because we actually learned this because we're pretty sure we played this wrong, because was it, your avatar can't be disabled, correct?
Your avatar cannot be disabled.
Yes,
your avatar used to be able to be disabled, and Dream Quest was so good.
Because that's literally, like, I literally was telling my buddy, I was like, dude, why don't I just, if I get this turn 1, I've even told him whenever I got it in our first sealed, I was like, dude, if I have this in my opening hand, you can tell me I'm cheating. And I watched him cut the deck, and I had it in my opening hand. He was like, dude, how the hell did you have this in your hand? And I'm like, I watched you cut the deck. Like, it, and then, yeah, we played it like that, and then we saw the rules, and now we're like, it's just
not
really...
it's not an auto include anymore.
Yes.
In every single deck. It does require you to be playing spellcasters, or at least standing stones. Yeah, no, it's the only tutor in the game. It's the only tutor in the game that grabs everything. I hope it stays that way.
I agree. I think tutors just in games in general are just, I would argue, really bad for the game just because it...
I forget where I've heard this. I could be wrong, but I think I remember hearing that Eric doesn't want any more tutors that can grab uniques because he wants the game to be swingy and splashy.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're going to see tutors going forward, I think those tutors are only going to be able to grab
ordinaries and exceptionals
and elites, or it's going to be so restrictive that it's not going to grab. It's only going to be able to maybe grab like a one of in like a unique. But yeah, I don't think we're going to get like princesses again. I don't think we're going to get dream quests again.
Yeah, it's definitely fallen out like quite a bit. But yeah, it's still fine. It's just, you have to build your deck a little bit more around it, but it's just a lot worse than what it was.
Yeah.
East West Dragon. All right. Funny enough, because the Discord I just keep learning more and more about this. The moves freely sideways, that's only for, it's only for, I can never remember the difference between defending and intercepting.
Well, it can be used for anything. It can be used for any time you move. But it does count for defending. Basically, you'll never use intercept, but intercept will prevent you from doing things. Is how I describe intercept to people. Because intercept will prevent you from being like, oh, if I move to this site, they can intercept me and my unit will die, so I'm just not going to move there. You're never going to be like, you're rarely ever going to intercept. Someone has to be playing wrong for you to intercept, or they have to be misreading and you're just going to sack one of your dudes to stop them from moving further. Is that something intercept does? But you almost never use intercepts. You'll use defend all the time.
Okay. But yeah, the moves freely sideways and stuff, it being a, like, it still requires the move, like move attack action or whatever. Yeah. It being that, so like, you can move up, you can move up one square and also horizontally, however much you want. But this card's fine. I think this is, it's It's
Um,
good enough to where like yeah, if you just want to beat her, then yeah, you can run it,
yeah,
but it's nothing to write home about.
yeah,
Let's
it's
say.
fine. It's got a cool curio. Its curio is West East Dragon, and the art is weird. It's literally the curio is literally called West East Dragon, and it's great. I love it. Uh,
Oh,
so if any of y'all got a West East Dragon, you have a curio, and those are worth good amount of money.
oh yeah.
Um, but no, the card's got a cheeky little combo with Blaze. Um, if we ever get the ability to untap stuff on your turn, uh, during your turn without like attacking like Screaming
Mm-hmm.
Skull, or even with Screaming Skull, it could be fine because Blaze is anytime the unit moves, not so you can reactivate Blaze multiple times. But with Blaze, this thing is able to hit every single site with Blaze, which is cool.
Oh,
Because Blaze gives +2 movement, or is it +1?
I think it,
I can look. Um,
think I think no, it is plus
it,
two because it only affects
it's
the
+2.
last two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you move sideways on your starting site. Let's say you're on the bottom row. You blaze all those things. Don't know why you would. It's probably your own stuff. Then you move up, blaze all that things. So that's one of your movements. You move up again, blaze all those things. That's your second movement, and then your third movement is move to the top row. So with Blaze, East West Dragon can go to every single site and blaze every single site. It's a cool little combo.
Not gonna like win you the game, but it's still
No, do
um,
2 damage to everything. That's pretty good.
yeah,
But like,
yeah. Um, Evil Presence. I feel like we need more spirits for this to be prevalent. I don't think it's I don't think
yeah,
it's that great at the moment. But if they lean more towards it, it could definitely be good. I mean, a slightly less rate. Was it Summoning Sphere? But
yeah. How many spirits?
oh, it says give it charge. Oh, I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah. It gives it
yeah,
haste. Yeah, it's great.
yeah.
That's a really good effect, and the fact that it gives things charge. When it gives things charge to here, which has been ruled that it counts if it's in the void. So air water decks really like Evil Presence because it gives your ghost ships charge, which lets your ghost ships trigger right away, and it gives your Uni Undyne charge. So that's a lot of damage. Um,
That is a lot of damage.
we currently have 20 spirits in the game. Um, it's great with Grim Reaper. Uh, yeah, there's some cool ones it's cool with, but like it's an extra summoning sphere for Jin, which is good. Can't go wrong with that. So
uh, yeah. Fade given allied minions stealth. Occupies an enemy side draw card. It's I mean like yeah, it's fine. Like
um,
I just look at this card and I'm like, all right, yeah, sure.
it's depending on the deck, I'd say it's anywhere from okay to great. Um, Fade Fade says give any minion unblockable next turn, which is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Fade is a card that can easily win you the game because your opponent's on death's door. Like it lets you finish with a minion on death's door, which is great. Um, and it's not hard to just make it a cantrip to draw a card. Like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
it basically lets you get an extra attack and draw a card. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Flanking maneuver.
Speaking of chess,
I'm like, yes. Like literally as soon as I saw this card, I was like, yeah, this literally chess. Because I'm like I want to say no. Um just cuz they're that's so restrictive. I feel like just being forced to move into chess knights move away. Um and then because yeah, it's at least forward 1/2 or forward 2/1. Um, and his teleport And any number of allies.
Yep, it's any number.
So, yeah, and it is
Um,
cantrip. Yeah,
also, it
good.
goes over. Also, it doesn't care about regions.
Really? So it does go over
Because it
void?
says another location, so you can actually use this to have stuff under in the underground and either underground or underwater. Bring them to the surface with it. You can also have things in the void go to the go from the void to not the void. You can have things above ground go below ground. You can also go over void squares because it's a teleport, so it doesn't care about all the locations in between the two. Um, it's it's okay. Um, it's not the most expensive cantrip. It's, it's a 3 mana cantrip, which isn't good. Um, it's okay. I think
Yeah.
it depends on the deck. In
Yeah.
Grey Wolves, it's disgusting in Grey Wolves. Oh,
Oh,
because you
because yeah,
can
you just load all your Grey Wolves up on like one site and then just all right, have at it.
yeah, it's
Get 'em,
great.
boys.
Um, yeah, the chess knights, because most people build their sites in a T shape. Um, if you put anything on your starting site, it's great because you're always going to be able to go to your opponent's site.
Well, yeah, so
Well,
fairly middle of the road.
yeah.
All right. Oh God, this is because yeah, you play the game a lot more than I do, so now I feel like I'm the bad player looking in on this. I think Grandmaster Wizard's great. I think it's
It's
a good
great.
card. Oh, thank
It's a
God.
good card.
I'm
It's
like,
a good
because
card.
especially if you
Um,
can raise dead this and 4 mana, draw 3 cards.
it's I really only see the Death Speaker,
I
because
mean, yeah,
also the game's on a lower curve right now. Back when everyone was playing mid range or everyone was going to 6 to 8 sites, you saw it a lot more. Um, but I think a lot more of the trend, at least what you see online with people playing, I don't know about anyone's local meta. They all could still be doing that. I think Sorcery is more fun when everyone's going to 8 sites, but usually most people top end at 6. So it's if you play it, you're gonna play it, and that's gonna be your turn. Um, but in like Death Speaker, if you or at least even if you're running Geistwood, just running Geistwood is, hey, draw 3 cards. All right, I'm gonna put him on Geistwood, then pack the Devil to him and draw 6 more cards. Then I'm gonna bring it back with oh, it's packed with the Devil. This dude is on Geistwood is draw 9 cards. It's so good. Uh,
what was the not the Pact with the
packed
Devil? No, the
packed
other
with
one.
Geistwood. It's a site. Geistwood turns Genesis abilities into death rights. Uh, yeah,
What the? No.
yeah, yeah.
No, I'm not allowing this. That's not okay. No.
So, Geistwood's a really fun site. Your things have to die on Geistwood. They have to
Yeah.
be on Geistwood. And so the great play is you play Geistwood, you play all your wizards on Geistwood, then you play Firebolts, and you kill 3 of your wizards on Geistwood, and you draw a whole bunch of cards. It's good. It's fun.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I don't want that to be a combo in my casual sorcery game. Um, obviously we know about Grapple Shot. That's
It's broken.
yeah,
It's
you know.
the fact that it's ordinary is its biggest problem.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't remember if it was you or somebody else who was just like, yeah, they've gone on record and said that this was a mistake.
yeah, I could probably find Emberleaf. He's the one that designed the card. I could probably find his Discord post where he's like, yeah, I know. Or it was either that or an interview. He's like, yes, it was an interview with Team Covenant. He's just like, yes, I'm aware. I'm aware.
I'm aware I
Grapple
messed
shots on me,
up.
guys.
Stop annoying me.
Grapple shots on me. It's the fact that, like, there's a lot of things that could change Grapple Shot. And honestly, to be fair, Grapple Shot did get nerfed by the projectile rule change at the start of the year.
Mhm.
But the big, like, Grapple Shot can either just be an exceptional, would completely make the card, would bring it down from being broken to great.
Yeah.
The fact that in Earth Air, I run 8 of these because I'm running 4 Common Senses is disgustingly good. Um, Common Sense is an ordinary that fetches ordinaries. It's a tutor for ordinaries.
Oh, oh lord.
Yeah, welcome to Earth. Um, so Earth Air is I would argue is the best elemental pairing in the game. Because of those 2 cards. Um, Also, because Air draws you all your cards, Air gives you all your mobility, and then Earth gives you all the big minions and the things that want all the strike effects that Air provides. But no, grab a shot.
Yeah, yeah,
Bust.
yeah. Yeah. As soon as somebody was like, "Man, this card's broken," I'm like, "All right, I'll just play it." Very first game, yeah, just no, just destroyed him and was like, "No, I get it, I get it now." Grim Reaper, sideboard card.
I disagree. I think it's a great main board card. It's a one of because it's a unique.
Mm-hmm.
You're not always going to see it, but like, yes, at worst, your Grim Reaper dies before it hits anything.
Mm-hmm.
But if it hits something, if it attacks, or if you play Grim Reaper then grapple shot for 5, you're shooting through the moon. But like it's just the way Grim Reaper works. It removes a card, but it can remove 3 to 4 cards, and that's really good.
Or Grey Wolves, it destroys.
Yeah.
How many?
But so Grim Reaper also has a really fun build around. So Grim Reaper cares about killing things, not about attacking them and killing, but just killing.
Mm-hmm.
So with if you can give him Spellcaster, he kills anything with a spell that triggers his ability. So if you make him a Spellcaster, he's just murdering everything. But lethal does not carry over. But if you then give him
Poison Nova.
No, if you give him a rolling boulder, he pushing the boulder triggers his ability. If he kills with the boulder, trigger his ability. So Grim Reaper plus boulder is a phenomenal combo. That's just gonna start banishing things.
I've always said Rolling Boulder's just the funny card.
It's won several tournaments.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I had an insect on my wall.
I was about to say, it's won. Get a spider.
It's won several tournaments. It's one of Mono Air's best cards because Mono Air struggles doing more than 4 damage.
What is this game? What have I gotten myself into? This is destroying everything I know about Magic. Like, just card games in general.
Yeah, welcome to Sorcery, man.
Oh my god.
It's so much fun being on the side of like, haha, funny boulder go roll, and then you're like, this card's actually really good.
Because I'm sitting there like, okay, Boulder's like, yeah, it's, it's fine, but like, I mean, my buddy and I literally in one of the sealed ones, we had to play best of 2 over it just because he played a Boulder, rolled it, and then like right at my avatar, and I went, all right, do we want to play this game? So I just sat there and just kept rolling Boulder, and yeah, we were just like, all right, so we agree, nothing goes in that center row, right? And we're like, let's just do that.
Yeah. So yeah, no, Boulder's a threat. Boulder is you have your avatar hold it and it's a threat. Like I can deal 4 damage if I'm in line with you. It's so good. Yeah, Sorcery is a blast. Take everything you learned about card games and just keep them as a reference book.
I'm like, it's like what was it? It's like trying to learn, what was it? Because I've always described math as like, all right, you're going to add like a bunch of more stuff. All right, now you're going to start take like pre-calculus. All right, take everything you knew, throw it away. Here's pre-calculus. And then calculus is like, hey, remember that stuff you threw away like 2 years ago? Yeah. Dig it back up and then add a whole lot more stuff. There you go. Yep. Deal with it. That's what this is. It's just like, hey, throw it away, but not quite, but mostly throw it away.
Yeah.
Gyre Hippogriffs. I think this is a good card.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah,
It's great.
yeah, it's yeah, good. Yeah, I meant yeah, good isn't great. Yeah, it was just like
Yeah.
it's
The haste haste is great. We see it's not as useful in Magic anymore, but I don't think Magic really cares about
yeah,
creatures as much unless you're playing
yeah, no.
Commander. But
Uh, I'm like, yeah, it's we just both agree that this is a great card. It's a great beater,
yep.
and it can just do things. Um, I'm not even gonna bother with the name Eagle. 3/3 carry a weaker allied minion. Okay, so I actually wanted to ask this in rules and questions and stuff, but does picking up stuff cost an action?
It is an action, but it's not a tap. It does not require you to tap. What page of the rule book is that?
I'm like my buddy was sitting there being like, nope, it causes it to tap, and I'm like, all right
Nope,
then,
does
this
not cause it to
sucks.
tap. Let me go grab my phone, which has my rule book in it. I'll be right back.
Well, now that we're here, oh, I did a boo boo. So how is everybody doing? He's gone, so I get to do what I want. I better hope this is recording. It'll be really funny if all this just never worked.
I want to grab the exact page number, because I always do that with people. Let's see, basic abilities. Basic abilities. So page 21 is where basic abilities are starting to talk about, but the page for dropping is on page 26. Page 26 describes picking up and dropping artifacts. They are both once per turn abilities, but they are not tapped abilities. They are just once per turn.
So you can only pick up one in your turn?
No, you can only use the pickup action once per minion per turn. When you pick up, you can pick up as many things there that you can pick up. Now, like Host Eagle can only pick up a unit, so you can pick up a unit and any other artifact that's on the ground that you can pick up, all in one pickup action. Dropping does have an additional restriction of you can't drop if you've been in combat. It's to prevent picking up a weapon, attacking with that weapon, then
dropping it,
having
somebody
your ally
else
that's
pick it up.
already there,
Yeah.
pick it up and swing. It's to prevent that.
Okay.
But
I think this card is. Yep. It's
okay.
Yeah. It's fine. It's one of those like if you need it, then you need it. Like if you need to move around like a a spellcaster or something to get that off, or just for any reason, like it's fine. It's on rate.
Yeah.
It can still be a fine card.
So a weird quirk of carrying minions. Carrying minions also transfers over any movement modifiers. So if an airborne minion is picking up a minion, that minion being carried now also has airborne. So it can no longer be attacked by things on the ground because it has airborne itself. So fun little quirk with how carrying minions works.
Good fun. Okay.
But Host Eagle is a 3 for 3. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I run it in Spark Mage because of the 2 air thresholds.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting your whole thing is like is it good in Spark Mage? Yes.
Yep.
All right, it's a good card.
Yep.
Headless Haunt. All right, I think this is a troll card. I think this is a. I mean, 3 mana 4 at best. Yeah, just bonk things, but it is very dependent, and I think it's. I think it can be good if your luck's good enough, but I don't think it's.
So, yeah, I agree. I agree for the most part. We had a fun conversation when the season 5 finals were happening for the tabletop league. A bunch of us were just discussing. We're watching the game. We were in a separate channel, just all talking while the game was going on, and we were discussing Headless Haunt because someone was running it, and we were like, actually, if Haunt hits once, it's done its job.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, agreed.
So every single minion in sorcery, you go in with the assumption that they hit once. They hit once, they've done their thing. Everything after that is just extra. So Headless Haunt, if Headless Haunt hits twice, it's pulling above its weight. So it's kind of a joke because it's random, but honestly, I really hope they keep making air the random
Yes,
element.
because it would make it so much more fun. Like it's
because Lucky Charm exists, Kythera Mechanism, best card in Spark Mage.
oh my god, it's. I think I rated that like yeah. If you're playing any, I think I was basically saying if you play any air cards, just do it.
If Kythera Mechanism does nothing until you build your whole entire deck to be random, and then it does everything. Yeah. But Headless Haunt, I think it's great. Is it as good as the other 3/4, which is like Unicorn? Unicorn is the perfect standard for a 3/4, because it's a 3 power minion. It's a 3 cost minion with 2 threshold that deals 4 damage. Is it better than Unicorn? Gods no. Unicorn's really good.
Yeah.
But it does have the upside of being Voidwalk, so it's not going to get killed the first turn you play it. So you can at least get lucky enough on a die roll, on your first die roll, to have this hit. It basically has delayed charge, is the way I look at Voidwalk. You just put it in a corner, it's not going to die, unless someone is rude and Chaos Twisters it.
But why? I mean, they can. I mean, it's 4 power. But
yeah. It's all right. I play it. I played it. I played in Spark Mage.
I'm like, yeah,
but
why
Spark
not?
Mage doesn't play more than like a competitive Spark Mage deck doesn't play more than 4 mana, 4 cost cards. So you're really restrictive in what you're playing. And like the only 5 cost card I play in Spark Mage is Orb of Balbarith.
Yeah, Balbarith.
Because it's worth playing.
Oh yeah.
So
Highland Clansman. I think just because of the pace of games and your likelihood of getting up to 7 mana, I don't think this is very good. Like if you want your deck to get up to that point, then yes, it can be just, all right, here's 5 damage, go. Like good. But I think if the games get faster or have a lower have a lower mana like average mana cost, then it's not that great, but it's fine.
Back in the day when everyone was playing up to 8 sites, it was really good.
Yeah.
So it still sees some play. Some Pathfinder decks might run it because you're getting it off on turn 7. Because Pathfinder decks will go to 10 to like 8 to 10 sites. So it sees some play there. Like Immortal Throne decks will also run it, but those decks are needing the 7 cost.
Yeah.
But I think it's not as good as it used to be. I think if we get back into a control or mid-range meta where people are getting to 6, 7, 8 sites a turn, 8 sites a game, it'll start seeing more play.
All right. I agree. Helen Falconer. Oh my god. With a beast with airborne, mana cost 2 or less, and summon it here.
It grabs 3 cards currently. Hold on, let me double check my math. If you go to Advanced Search, you could do that. Advanced Search actually lets you filter by subtype and by mana cost.
It can hit Blood Ravens.
It hits Blood Ravens, Scarabs, and Bats, if I remember correctly. Because they also have to have Airborne, specifically.
Yeah.
So it has to basically grab birds.
Yep. Bats.
Less than 3.
Yep, Scarabs.
Yeah, so it grabs 3 cards. It grabs Ravens, Bats, and Scarabs, and that's it. Currently. Hopefully it'll grab more at some point in time.
Yeah. So would you want ravens, bats, or scarabs? So ravens,
You never grab
no.
ravens. You
Uh,
never grab.
scarabs.
No, you grab
No.
scarabs. Scarabs do 4 damage.
Uh,
Scarabs do 1 damage and then die and then detonate and do three
yeah.
more damage.
I'm like
So
I use scarabs like quite a bit, a lot of in aggressive decks, just because yeah, it just boom. All right. Um, but then what
and
was
then it grabs bats. Bats have burrowing and 2 power, so they counter brute spiders. So
hmm.
um, Highland Falconer is a card that is in any deck but Death Speaker. Man, um, in Death Speaker, it's a good card. It's played. And then I think as we get more cards as the game goes on,
Yeah, this will
Highland
definitely get
Falconer
better.
get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spellbook for an artifact costs 1 or less, so you're getting your
A core.
mixes and
A
cores.
core.
Yeah.
You're getting a core, a stone, a mix, or if you're in Spark Mage, you're grabbing Kythera Mechanism.
Yeah.
That is
Which, yeah, I agree. If you're running, I think any of those auto include.
yeah. I still wish I would have bought her up when she was like $5.
She was at $5 at one point.
Yeah, she was at $5. So when the game dropped, um, when beta first came out, well, actually during when it was just alpha, everyone slept on Princess. They're like, why grab Princess? She only gets you cores. Like she's not that needed, or like even if she does get you cores, all the cores are super expensive, so she's not that good. And then beta hits, everyone's still in that mindset for like 2 weeks, and then she goes from $5 to 20, and now she's sitting at like $50.
I'm like, yeah, she's an auto include if you add like any of them, because it adds one more slot where like yes, I get that card.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's good. I personally don't play with cores anymore. My my heart my hot take is I do not think cores are good. I do not think P-Stone is good in any deck unless you are in a 3 or 4 element deck that is low cost and draws a lot. It is like I don't think cores are good. I have had too many games where I need anything in my deck and I draw a core. And I'm like, it's a dead card. Cores are only good in the first 3 draws of the game.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely one of those like once you, I think if was it if air gets a lot more of the like cantripy, play into spark mage stuff, then I think it could be better just for a little extra, just
yeah.
keep going. But then yeah, I think yeah, Philosopher's Stone definitely is a
My
needs
rule
more.
in the cores is your deck on average needs to draw 2 cards per turn. Actually, it's like one if your deck needs to draw on average 1.8 cards per turn. I think to have the cores be usable, in my opinion.
Hmm.
That is, I think, where my kind of rule fell in at because now there are some decks that will run them in that don't draw a whole lot, but those are very few decks. But this also comes from the mindset of when I was trying to get a lot of people into sorcery that are coming from the magic scene. They see the cores and they're like, "Oh my god, it's the mix, it's the Moxes, let's go!" And I'm like, "Guys, this isn't the Power 9.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
let's calm down." And people were like, "Man, how am I supposed to get in this game? Like, there's all these expensive cards." And I'm like, "No, no. The only reason why you see the cores and P-Stone in every single deck because everyone's currently playing on TTS where we could play every single card, and so we're throwing them in for no reason. Those aren't the best decks. Those are the best decks where money isn't an issue." So I had this huge philosophy for a while, and it's carried into still kind of how I deck build. Is I tried to keep my unique count lower, or if I am playing uniques, I'm probably not playing cores or P-Stone because I don't want my deck to be $300-400 for if I'm in a tournament setting and I somehow do win well. I don't want someone to look at my deck because they're gonna look at it and be like, "Oh, I have to run this core. I have to run Peace Down." No, you don't. That's an extra. That's a it feels nice to get it, but like it's not crucial. But so many people see them as crucial. So I have this huge philosophy where I just stopped running them. Like in my paper decks, I play them in paper, absolutely. Like they are good. I don't think they're necessary.
I'm like I can agree with you on it, which I keep saying, but it's yeah, I agree that they're definitely not the Power Nine, but it's also just because the game just plays just so much different than Magic that like the reason why the Power Nine was so good is just because it was just free and you could just
Yeah.
do it and you have so many more spells that like because yeah, losing 1/7 of your hand at the beginning is so much like less impactful than like all right, starting turn one, all right, I'm losing 1/3 of the spells in my hand just because I wanted
Yeah.
that one little extra boost.
Yeah, and the boost is nice.
I
Putting
mean,
it
yeah,
all
it's
extra
good.
turn, it's great. But yeah, no, they just become dead too early in the game. Once you hit a certain point, where yeah, if we had an open hand of 7 cards, like 7 spells, oh, absolutely be running.
Oh yeah, especially with our mulligan system, which oh, I I had such a hard time being like, well, this because didn't the mulligan system just recently get changed?
Yes.
Yeah.
It changed in June.
Yeah.
It was in the June update, the June rule update.
Because yeah, when we were at first playing with the original mulligan rules, and I was like, okay,
So
this is going to be a problem, like immediately. And then yeah, then with the updated ones,
yeah,
I'm like, all right, this is a lot more reasonable.
yeah. So it was really funny when the rule change happened. It was at the time where everyone was complaining about Roots of Yggdrasil, and everyone was asking for its ban or it to destroy your mana pool. And then the Mulligan rule change happens, and everyone was like, "Oh, they're doing this to combat Roots." No, that's a byproduct of it. They were doing it to not make the new draft avatar broken as all hell. Um, Spellslinger starts with an extra spell in his opening hand, so
Oh.
if you had the old Mulligan rule, you're looking at your top 8 spells. So um, the Mulligan rule was changed for him. Uh,
Okay. I'm like, yeah, because I mostly just looked at it as like, all right, you are because it was the problem with Magic too, because Magic's been through so many different mulligan, different rules and
yeah,
stuff.
I think London is the right spot for Magic
Yeah,
at this point.
yeah. Um, but I mean, even in a game like Hearth, because like Hearthstone has basically the same, but it's you start with 3 cards in your hand, period, unless you're going second, which case you start with a fourth. But then it literally shows you, and then uh, you can replace any number of them with different cards from your deck. They take them, they're shuffled back in your deck, and you redraw back up to them. But then there are certain cards like quests that always start in your hand, just because of how like they need to be basically in order for them to be any sort of good. But yeah, it just so like a game like that. That's okay because yeah, you start with such a small amount of cards that yeah, you need to be able to replace at least any number of them. Because if you're just looking for like, all right, I need that one card, you can dig, but it still shuffles and replaces. Then yeah, all the Magic's iterations of them. But I think this one, just being the 3 cards, yeah, it genuinely is a all right. I have these 3 spells in hand that require, let's say, this threshold, and all 3 of my lands are of a different threshold. All right, do I want to replace 2 of them in one spell? But then what if I need the other one? It requires a lot more of like, all right, what do I actually want to get rid of?
Yeah, it requires you to know your deck. The
Yeah.
new Mulligan rule requires you to have extensive knowledge of your deck, which I think is actually really good. And one of the things I love about Sorcery is that skill ceiling is so high, which does feel bad when I'm teaching people how to play this game because I have such a higher games knowledge of this game, where I'm like I could probably play my worst deck, and probably still win. Okay, not my worst deck. My worst deck's kind of a meme, so it would not win. But like, I could play a subpar deck and probably beat anyone new playing a really good deck because like I have a way higher skill level, which is actually fine. And I won in my games,
Mhm.
because also sorcery has so much luck and variance in it, where like that skill player can lose because of it, which is good and important.
I'm like somebody dropped. Was it my buddy managed to drop the frog spell, the 7 frog spell,
Yeah,
whatever.
plenty frogs.
Yeah, was able to get all 7 of those uh onto their avatar, and I was like, well, I have a lucky charm on my avatar. All right, I think I cast lightning bolt or something, and was just like, all right. He was on death's door, so I was like, well, either I kill you right now or I wait a bit and try again. Like it's just
Yep.
all right. How do I do this? And then yeah, I just happened to roll good and kill him, and
Yep.
it's just that's how it worked.
Yeah.
Hounds of Honduras. Uh, oh my god, that's a lot of keywords. What is this questing beast? Haha.
No.
No, it's very much not. Uh, but oh my god, it's a was it the walking?
It has all the movement. It has all the movement abilities.
And then nearby enemies permanently lose stealth
Okay, so
as long
here's
as
what
this is
permanently
around,
works.
right?
Okay, so permanently had to do. Permanently will probably no longer be used going forward, because they changed how stealth is tracked. Stealth is now tracked through a token. You either have the token or you don't. Before, if it didn't say permanently, if it just lost stealth, and then the thing left, I technically should have regained my stealth back because I never did anything to permanently lose stealth. So they use the word permanently to like be like, hey, even if this thing dies, the stealth isn't coming back.
Okay.
But now with how stealth has been changed to a token, to you give something a stealth token, it either has it or it doesn't. It's permanently will no longer be used going forward. And I think that was a statement at one point that was also made.
Okay. I'm like, I think this card's pretty good. I like this. Like, yeah, I think this just it's definitely it's a beater. It's a tech card. It allows you to just do the thing and do it well. And yeah, I think
Yeah.
I'd call this a great card.
Yeah, it doesn't see a lot of play, but I think it's a good card.
Kite Archer. So I never played this card, right? And I know, and that's one of the reasons why I just never I never really played it, just because. So it says immediately after performing a range strike, it may take a step. So it can attack then move. Well, it can
No.
tap to.
Okay.
What do you mean?
It's not attacking. So you tap to activate the ranged ability.
Well, yeah, yes.
Which is tap, shoot a projectile. It deals damage. When it hits something, you strike the third thing it hits. So once it does that, then it can move. Then it can take a step to move. So Kite Archer basically turns ranged into range and move instead of using like the move and attack option, the move and attack ability, it can use range and move.
Okay.
So it'll still end tapped.
Yeah.
This was a lot better again when ranged targeted, but I think it's still fine.
Yeah, it's because yeah, I understood it, just not the right just terminology, but was just it's a fine card. It's a bit of movement here and there, just never hurt anybody, and it does some damage, moves away.
Yeah, or moves further in, but
yeah, like yeah, because the dual element cards just
they're great.
I like them more than how Magic did it, where it's just like, hey, by the way, you just get them, and then it's like, no, how about we go back and say like, no, but now you gotta like either pay 2 life or you gotta have it
because how they used to
tapped.
do it was way too good. If they would have just made them give you the mana and not be a forest or a swamp, they would have been good.
Yeah.
They would have been fine.
But yeah, I think that these not having additional text or anything on it is exactly how, like, it motivates you to then play those like slightly worse ones for like threshold and things, but then gives you an additional effect.
Yeah.
I think
you should always play the water ones. Even if you're in a mono site, if you're in a mono deck, I'd still recommend. If you're in a mono air, I still recommend playing Lighthouse, because water is not the meta. Water is no one plays drown, everyone plays bury.
Ooh, and you can't bury on water sites.
Water, yeah. So,
all right. Yeah, lightning bolt. Just it's the card.
Yep.
It's the card.
It's lightning bolt.
Yeah,
it's so good. It's
lightning strike, which is weird. It's different because there's two different lightning bolts. Because shock is the 1 mana, deal 2 damage. Lightning bolt is the 1 mana, deal 3 damage. Lightning strike is the 2 mana, deal 3 damage.
Yeah. If you're gonna compare to Magic for the damage ratio, it's lightning strike, but it's lightning bolt. I think it's a great card. It's it's sorcery's version. Like, if we're never gonna get a 1 for 3, that's gonna be it's got to be unique if we're gonna get a 1 for 3 or an exception or an elite. But no, it's great. It's probably the most played kill spell. It's probably the most played death blow spell of all time.
Yeah, because since it's able to then kill the avatar, it's the constant like, all right, you're at death's door. Do they have the lightning bolt?
Do they have the lightning bolt? It's
not gotta play around that.
Door, you're like, stack my minions.
Lord of the Void. They're banished and adjacent side unless there's an avatar there. I think anything, especially in this game, I would argue anything that costs 9 should not be run, unless I would argue shouldn't, just because it's nigh impossible to get there unless like you said, running Pathfinder and just happen to just get.
This needs mixers.
But
there are decks that are built to turbo this thing out. If he's out,
if he's out,
it sucks. Like, you're not having a fun time if this thing's out.
And
you will forever always be at your mana value unless you know how to properly replay your sites and play your avatar to kill him.
I mean, if you're playing like, no, I was about to say so it's adjacent. So
if you play him into the void, you end your turn. It banishes your opponent's site. So now they're not near him. They don't have a site adjacent to him anymore to play a site on him to kill him with a kill spell.
Because I was gonna say like, oh, but you could play desert, and then I realized it targets a site. Yeah. So
he's in the void. He's always in the void. If he comes out, there's a particular way you actually have to play to kill him, and it's gonna turn off several turns.
Yeah, I think it's definitely if you get this out, you are like, you've basically won the game. But if you don't, then
depends when you get it out. If you can turbo him out on turn 3, you've won the game.
Yeah. Like there's no chance. Yeah, if you draw the nuts, let's say you're running the
who makes heirs and Lord of the Void, you've won.
Yeah, just all right, cool. On to literally any other game. But in those scenarios, good, like not just good, top tier, but it's I'd say if you are not going for that, I don't think this is just a card you should just add to your deck. This is definitely
a card you
around
add to your deck. It is a card you build around, which will get harder and harder as our deck size decreases. But it's fine. I'd love to see a deck that's just all build arounds and trying to make everything work.
I'm like, I do the exact same thing in Magic all the time. It's just, all right, there's one card that I'm only, especially in Commander, like, all right, I need to get this card out, and it's not my Commander. How do I get to this? Men of Lang, I think because it has to specify stricken avatar, it's definitely worse. I don't.
Hmm.
I think this. I would think that. You correct me if I'm wrong. I think this would be good in Pauper. Other than that, I don't think this would be a card that you should really add in your constructed deck.
Yeah, it's just play. I think if people play it in Pauper, it's a good draft card.
Yeah,
It's great if you get this plus grapple shots. They're always good with grapple shot.
yeah. I think almost any card is good with grapple shot.
Yes, that's true. But this specifically has a buff with grapple shot.
Yeah.
Because it lets you strike. Um, I've thought about building a strikes matter deck. That's probably air fire. That's running leap attack, spin attack, uh, grapple shot, all the stuff.
Yeah.
Whirling blades. It might see better play, but it's a two. At the end of the day, it's a 2 for 2, and that's okay. It's
just okay. Midnight Rogue. I really liked this when I was playing when we were doing that the sealed stuff, but other than that,
Yeah.
I'm like it. Yeah, it can deal 2 damage.
Yeah.
Like cool.
I wish it did 3.
Yes, if it did 3, yes, good card. But yeah, since it does 2, it just doesn't do what you want it to do, and it's fine. It's yeah. Moon Clan Werewolf. No. I don't.
We don't like it.
I don't like it. I can understand that you can get it in. You can get it in on your opponent's stuff. By the sacrifice an allied, whatever. But I mean, yeah, I don't like it just because it. I feel like if we got a lot more of the lower end stuff, and is a was it the soldier tokens or whatever that you get from the Earth sites? Yeah, those are mortals, right?
Yeah, they're mortals. So Clan Werewolf sees not a whole lot of play. It sees some play in some mono Earth decks will play it because they're making a bunch of foot soldiers.
Yeah.
And almost all of Earth's minions are Earth. Some people play them to trigger Geistwood triggers because all your wizards are all mortals. So you can just, hey, let's just get rid of this mortal, draw cards, and now have a 3-power, turn my 0-power into a 3-power. I think it's going to see play in AL because of the Banshees, the Keening Banshees card.
Like I haven't seen anything about AL, so.
Oh, okay. Do you want this small spoiler?
Oh, I don't. I'm like I don't care. Like yeah, it's literally just so many people are trying to dodge around it and be like, no, well if somebody doesn't want it.
So there's this card. I can actually go on their website because they have all the official spoilers on their website. There's Sorcery TCG. Theory Legends. God, 6 days. That's wild. Okay, so Harpies. Keening Banshee is an ordinary spirit. It's a 4-cost, 2 air threshold, 3 power. May be cast for 0 if an allied mortal died this turn. So
it's a. You said it's a 3-mana 3?
No, it's a 4-mana 3. But it's free if one of your mortals died this turn.
I'm like, yeah. Why wouldn't you?
So you play it with so you play with werewolves. So the deck is I think it'll probably be slotted into the Air Earth Zombies deck that's running zombies that when a mortal dies on land, you get your zombie back. So you're making foot soldiers. So you sacrifice your clan. You sacrifice it to get a 3-power clan minion. Then you get a 0-cost another 3-power minion, and then you get your zombie back.
Oh my god! This is every reanimator deck on the planet.
Yeah. So
aristocrats in my sorcery game. No.
Well, we don't have any pingers yet for
yeah.
things.
But
Um,
yeah, aristocrats is all just like, all right, I'm gonna reanimate this, and then I'm gonna kill this off, and then I'm gonna reanimate this, and then kill this off.
so
Then
one of my favorite commander decks that I talked about earlier that I lost, it was a Hepatra aristocrats deck, black green aristocrats. She when you put a 1/1 counter on something, she makes a 1/1 snack with death touch.
oh
Um,
yeah, I know.
so the whole deck was that, but so it was a neg 1 deck. Not I did not run poison or infect. It was just a neg 1 deck that also played into the aristocrat strategies because I could loop them with Yawgmoth.
Yep,
Not yet. Yeah.
yep.
So it was a fun deck. I had a lot of fun. I would love to rebuild that deck at some point, but I don't really want to rebuy Urborg and Yawgmoth and all the ball coffers and all the black staples. I don't really want to rebuy all those.
Uh,
Um,
but yeah, it's gonna see more. But
it'll see some more play, but it's just okay. The only play I see people running werewolves is currently in zombie decks, and that's about it.
yeah, mortality. I think this could maybe be more of a tech card in the future, like a sideboard card. But I don't think it's at the moment. I would not think that it would be even played as much in sideboard.
It's not. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not played at all.
Okay.
I think AL is going to have a lot of mortals, so I think it'll start seeing one ofs, maybe two ofs, in AL, and then like there's probably going to be three main. I'm guessing there's going to be three main minion types in AL. We know we're going to get mortals because of knights. We've
Spirits.
already seen some fairies spoiled, so we might get fairies might be an archetype. Maybe not sure. Maybe spirits. Maybe spirits or fairies. And then I think we'll probably see a lot of beasts. I don't think any beasts have been spoiled. Have any beasts been spoiled yet? Well, your Vane, Sir Vane, Sir Gawain, Sir Vane. God, I don't know. I don't know any of the knights' names. Cares about beasts, so I think we might see more beasts in the game. Oh, we also did see Questing Beast. He does not do what he does.
Okay. I was like,
No,
oh.
this is the actual Questing Beast that is from Arthurian lore, where it's the body of like a jaguar, the head of a cobra, and the tail of a scorpion, and he's just okay. I think it should have done more, being a unique. It's basically Water's version of Manticore. That's it. It's Water's version of Manticore. It's just all right.
Okay. So yeah. What was it? Mountain Pass. I think this is.
Version. Yeah, that's the right version.
I think Mountain Pass is. It's fine. It can be good. But I wouldn't. I don't think this is an auto conclude.
Yeah.
But I think it can be good.
So if you have your avatar and a minion here, no one can attack your avatar unless they have airborne or they come in from underground. So it can be good could be a good stall card, a good stall. Sorry, not card. I call them stall sites or pillow fort sites. It can be good. It can also really hurt you if your opponent goes on there. You can't defend against their attacks anymore. So if you're running this, you should be running a lot of airborne.
Yeah. Nightmare. I'm like, I think at its worst, it's still good. At its best, I think it's great. I mean, seven mana, yeah, quite a bit to get there, but I think it's still just like, I think this is a great card.
Yeah, I think it's a great card. It sees almost no play because it's 7 mana.
Yeah.
But it's currently the only card in the game that can push a minion into a different region, if that region is the void. Um, so it basically says, hey, plop the minion down, banish something at the end of your turn, and then next turn, hit something for 6. Pretty alright, pretty good.
Yeah.
If it's near the void, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Nimbus Gen. Yeah. Just
great.
bonkers.
Great. Yeah, it's phenomenal. The
Yeah.
Jin combo is great. I tell all my Magic friends, this game does not have holding priority, so you have to discard your card first, deal your 3 damage, then discard again once the 3 damage has been dealt. It doesn't really matter. No one sequences it that way. Everyone just sequences a bunch of damage and then you roll afterwards. But technically, from a rule standpoint, there is no maintaining and holding priority to stack this effect a whole bunch of times.
Yeah, what was it? I think there was only one time where I was ever like, can I respond to something? And then I went, wait a minute. If I just order these differently, it literally doesn't matter.
Yep. It actually. I was just thinking, I'm like, I know it does matter that you can't like hold priority. If you've infiltrated a Nimbus Gen, you can't. You can only discard 1 card and only deal the 3 damage. Because you can't be like, oh, I hold priority and trigger the ability a bunch of times, so it doesn't matter if I lose control. That's not something you can do.
Okay. Observatory, I think. All right, because I know, was it Ponder? Yeah, Ponder's good, at least in Magic. I think this can be good. I think this is on. It was from even what you were saying with the towers. I think this is better than the towers, especially if you have something that, shuffles your deck at all, awesome. If not, then at the worst, it just gets you your spells you need faster, and then the cards you don't need at the moment, not as soon. But I still think this is just great.
It's great with Seer. It's a very good site with Seer. Or if you're playing water as well, it's really good if you're playing rivers. But yeah, no, I think Observatory is good. I think if you're in an air deck, you should probably run both of them.
Yeah. Cult Ritual. I know there's that site that turns everything here into spellcasters.
Yeah, it's a fun little combo. You play that and Plague of Frogs, and then you just have 14 mana. It's pretty.
Oh yeah. I think if they lean more into the storm style of air, I think this is definitely going to be a lot better.
Yeah,
but
it sees 0 play.
Yeah.
I have never seen this card played once, and I've been playing for 2 years. I have never seen a Cult Ritual played once.
Well,
I've that's a lie. I have seen the frog combo once.
Did it win?
But did they win? I think I might have beat them afterwards. I've considered playing it before, but the only copy of this card I have is a card that's banned from tournament play. So the pledge pack version of the card, if you click on the card and click on beta, you can see the alpha pledge pack art. Looks dope. It has the wrong text on it. So it has the word nearby instead of here.
Dude, wait. So oh my god.
Okay, honestly though, even if it was still nearby, it's still no one still playing.
Yeah.
It's still not good. But that's the only copy of this card I own
and you can't
one
play
that's
it.
banned from tournament play. But I still count it part of my play. I still count it in my having a full play set of alpha beta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think bats are good.
Yeah, bats are good. They kill spiders.
Yeah.
That's what makes bats good, is they kill spiders.
Bats good. Kill spider. Cool.
Yep.
Like, yeah, that's was it Peregrine Apparition? First coming into this game, I was like, oh my god, this card's great. And then I realized oh wait, this does kill the void guy if you have it out before. It's defend. It's a defend card. You can defend.
It defends. That's
yes.
All it does. It can literally go everywhere.
Yeah.
Like I said, Cloud Spirit can go everywhere. this card can actually go everywhere because of Void Walk, except for Airborne doesn't work in the Void, so you can't go diagonally in the Void. Um, Airborne specifically only gains its effects if it's on the surface. But it can still basically go anywhere.
And yeah, so defensive card, I think it's fine. I think
it's I actually think it's bad. I think the card is very bad. It should not be one.
Yeah, that's the reason why when I first played it, I was like, man, this card's great. One, no. And I don't think I ever played it in any sealed after that. But I I can agree that it's bad, but Spark Mage, hey, defensive.
I don't even run Spark Mage.
Oh,
it's 3 power. It's three mana. That means I can only play one card on that turn. If I play it, it's not worth running.
Phantasmal Shade struck. Whenever it is struck, destroy it. No. I think this would be a bad card. Well, no, but it's still 3 mana, deal 4, at minimum, and you can still deal. What was it? Yeah. So, fine. If it does the thing, it does the thing. But if it doesn't, it doesn't. So I'd say probably on the worse side.
Yeah. Grandmaster Wizard can kill it, which is sad. But because it still strikes. It strikes for 0.
Oh.
Because it was struck, it dies.
Okay.
But you're right. It does 4 damage. So if you can get it to deal its 4 damage, it's great. It's just like Headless Haunt. If it does 4, you did a great thing. You spent 3 mana, you dealt 4 damage. That's very good. If you can deal 8, it's phenomenal. So I used to run this in Spark Mage, and I think I still run it in my casual version, or I still have it as a recommendation to play in my casual version of Spark Mage. The casual one likes going to 6 mana, but it's playable. I think it's good. I don't think it's unplayable like a lot of people think it is.
Yeah.
Because if you think, hey, I dealt 4 damage, I did the thing, it's a good card.
Yeah, it's. I'm like, yeah, I agree.
Dies to a
yet
light
again.
breeze, but
yeah. If it dies to a Grandmaster Wizard, I mean,
it kills
how
the
good can it
Grandmaster
be?
Wizard, but that's
Yeah.
kind of the problem.
It only kills the Grandmaster Wizard. That's it. Phantom Steed. Can this carry things into the void?
Yes.
Okay. Then yeah, I think this card could be good. Just because it's movement +2 and the void walk. I being able to give basically anything the evasion and get it over to the opposite end of the board a lot quicker is I think that's good.
Yeah, no, it's a Steed. I think they do a good job.
It's Phantom
I
Steed.
think they're okay. They're just okay.
Phase Assassin enters the void against stealth. It's a 3/3 for 3. Wait, enters the void against stealth.
When you summon it into the void, it gains stealth.
Whenever you just summon it into the void, or
no, it's whenever
if it moves into it.
So basically, so if you always want to have stealth, you have stealth. You move in, you do your unavoidable attack. Then, if it lives till your next turn, you make it go back into the void, and then it regains stealth. Or you just keep it there to keep dealing 3 damage.
Yeah. I'm like, I think this is fine.
It's really good if you give it movement. Well, if you give it like movement plus. So if it has movement plus, it can move into the void and then back to do another unavoidable attack.
Yeah. But then outside of that, it's
okay. It's a 3 for 3.
Yeah.
It's a 3 for 3 that's 2 air, so I run it in Spark Mage.
Well, welcome back to the old adage of can you run in a Spark Mage? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
Plume Pegasus. It's a 3/3 for 3. Airborne. It's, you know, it's fine.
It's good.
Yep.
It's surprisingly effective. Um, you can run 4 of them, and airborne is very hard to kill.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the Pristine Paradise. Oh wait, unless completely empty. So as in nothing occupies this site.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Like 100% nothing. If there is an aura, it turns off. If there is an artifact, it turns off. If there is a minion, it turns off. If there's an avatar, it turns off. It literally has to have nothing on it.
So what you're saying is, at best, it's fine. At worst, it's useless.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
It's very easy for your opponent to turn it off.
So not good.
Yeah. No. A lot of people consider it not the worst site. It's not unplayable. There are some sites that I would consider close to unplayable. It's not those, but when you're, it's art phenomenal.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Gorgeous.
Like this is straight up like Birds of Paradise with the there was another land that basically also had that.
The original island.
Yes. Yeah. It's just perfect.
No,
phenomenal.
It's phenomenal. When Pathfinder has to play it, it's just kind of sad, and you play it out of necessity because it gives you the mana, but not the thresholds. So Pathfinder decks play it at Pathfinder deck has to play it. It plays out of necessity, so you get the mana the turn, and then the next turn you don't get the mana, but you do get the threshold once you leave.
Oh my god! No. So yeah, it's just like all right. Well,
you really needed the threshold, is what it is.
Yeah.
So the best case scenario is you play Pristine Paradise and you have a blink in hand, and then you blink after you play the Pristine Paradise, so you can get mana on the next turn, and you have the threshold this turn. But it's some people think it's good, and if you're playing in a meta where you don't have people playing auras, it's honestly pretty good.
Yeah.
You play in your back row, you play it on like sites 2 or 4, pretty good. No one's gonna be there. Maybe at the end of maybe you get to a point where like you have to retreat there, but you don't really need the mana at that point in the game. Yeah. But it's
bad. Sonic Blast deal 1 damage to each minion here. They're disabled until your next turn. At its worst, it disables 1 minion. At its best, it disables like 2. But I'm like, yeah. I think this card is it's to each minion here, including the one that does a thing. Okay, but the spellcaster has to be on it.
But your spellcaster isn't always a minion. If it's your avatar, your minion's not affected because it's not a minion.
And it can't.
Avatar is not a minion; it's a unit.
And it can't be disabled.
Well, it also won't even get hit for 1. But if you're like Grandmaster, but if you're like Apprentice Wizard cast this, your Apprentice Wizard dies to this own effect.
I mean, it's no.
It's, in my opinion, it's bad.
Yeah, that's what.
There are a few times where I'd argue it becomes bad to being okay, and that is Avatar of Water has the ability to teleport. So, if you can teleport to an area that it's full of your opponent's minions, you can teleport there, cast this, disable all of them until your next turn. So that's a turn they can't do anything. And then you still have the rest of your turn that you could just go in and beat them all, and your dudes don't get hurt back. Pretty good. I also think it's a good defensive card, as it stalls you an extra turn. If your opponent is like on you on Death's Door, you can cast it and it gives you an extra turn. But outside of Avatar of Water, I would never play it.
Yeah, agreed. I think I have seen this card once and was no, uh, like maybe twice. Puppet Master, Cage full of tap minions here until it leaves the realm. So it dies to everything except Grandmaster Wizard. Uh, it's a, it's a no. That's gonna be. Yeah. You know what? I've been too like, whatever. I'm gonna say this is a bad card.
Yeah, no, it's
That's
a
it.
very bad card.
Okay,
It's
good.
You picked correctly. This is a
Okay.
this is a terrible card.
Okay.
They're actually in the league about a couple months ago. We had a little thing where people were talking about, hey, what cards do you think are terrible, and what fixes would you have done? Fix them. Grandmaster Wizard should not have been at 1 power. So that's one.
Isn't Grandmaster Wizard a 0?
Sorry. Puppet Master.
Yes.
Puppet Master should not have been at 1 power. If everything else stayed the same, it should not be at 1 power. It dies to anything. The problem that I'm saying is it is airborne, so it's not going to die to being attacked, but it will die to like a bolt, even a firebolt it dies to. Second issue with it. It requires minions to be tapped.
Yes.
To mean that your opponent attacked into you and all of your well, one, it assumes all your opponent is all on one site, which is a bad play to do.
Yes. Nobody should ever be putting their stuff on just one site.
Well, you can maybe funnel there's ways I can see the line that maybe makes this good, but it's not.
Yeah. No.
So I actually remember this card in playtesting. So in playtesting, he didn't have airborne; he had stealth, which I think was better. Although I think his ability made him lose stealth. No, did abilities make you lose stealth at that time? I don't think so. I forget. I have to go back to the old rule book. But
I'm like, I better hope it doesn't like. All right, enters. It has stealth, Genesis. Sorry, it loses it.
Oh no, wait, that's a Genesis ability.
Yes.
Never mind. So it wouldn't lose stealth. Genesis doesn't make you lose stealth unless they deal.
That's what I figured.
So yeah, I actually still wish it had stealth. I think it was cooler when it had stealth. It was a fun. Aha, got you at 6. Your opponent's attacking all your one site. They got you down. You're just like, aha, 6 mana. They're all now mine. Great. It has stealth. It's not dying to anything. Actually, it could still die to projectiles back then, but I think they should have kept it with stealth.
But yeah, I think if this thing was like 3 or 4 power, then yes, like I could definitely see this be played a lot. Like could be played at 3 or 4 power. But I think at 1 power, no.
Oh yeah, no, it's bad.
Yeah. Rain of Arrows, 1 damage each above Grand Minion. What are the chances of you having you needing just like that 1 extra damage or something for 2? Why wouldn't you just play Lightning Bolt? Is what I'm thinking of.
There's a card called Drums of Doom. This plus Drums of Doom is a poison nova. That's remote.
So what you're saying is there are decks for this.
I'm saying it can be playable if you're playing Drums of
Doom. I think anything other than that, I think this is a. I don't think this is a great. I don't think this is a great card.
I think if one day if we get a card that gives spells lethal, this will pop off.
Oh yeah, it single-handedly.
It'll be premium removal. No, it's not good.
Okay.
It's a bulk bit. It's
I think Raised Dead is good, like great even.
Fix your opponent's stuff pretty good. If you got a Cathir mechanism, you choose even better. It summons a dead minion, not a dead minion from your cemetery. It says summon a dead minion, so it's from either cemetery.
Oh, okay.
And when you summon something, you pick where it gets summoned to. It doesn't have to be your own sites.
So whenever it's so, do you have control over the minion?
Yes,
Period.
yes, you summon it, so you have control of it.
Oh, so okay, so now it's better in my head because I was like, all
Yes.
right, do you just like, all right, I killed the big minion. All right, now I'm gonna try to get one of my buddies. Uh-oh, I resummoned the big minion. It's on their side. Crap. But
No,
like,
no, no. It's yours. You summoned it. You have control of it, and you pick where it gets summoned to. So you could just it's real fun if your opponent's playing Earth. They play like Rectanus Titan, which has a Genesis strike everything here, does 6 damage. It's real fun. Someone plays that, you're like, ha ha ha! I have Cathera Mechanism. I play Raise Dead after you kill it and just do 6 damage to their avatar. It's great. It's fun. Um, no, Raise Dead's phenomenal. It's a very good card. It goes from great to not quite broken, but really good if you have Kythera. But also it's going to be as good as what's dead.
yeah, yeah. Which, at the end of the day, if this hits basically anything good, then it's great.
Yeah. If it hits anything that costs more than 4, it's good.
Oh yeah, because then you're not even just playing it like, yeah, insane. Recall, number of valid minutes to cast location. This is definitely no, it's not always if I'm just losing, then it just, oh, everybody to my side. It doesn't have to be, but was it Apprentice Wizard Recall? No, but how many allies do you want to teleport there? It's fine.
It's extremely situational.
Yeah.
I think if you have a lot of allies, it's great. It's real fun in wolves if you're in air wolves, because you can keep all your wolves safe in like a safe little location, and then you play a spellcaster and you just move up, and then you cast recall, and they're all there. But this is another card that I think will be good if Avatar of Water gets a really good air water shell, because you're teleporting around with her. Teleport, then bring your whole army into a location. But I think it's bad.
Recurring Spectre, I don't think is very good.
Since it's bad. It's bad. It's just bad.
Yeah. Since it can't defend, it's no.
Until we get aristocrat strategies, it's not good.
Yeah. We could definitely agree on that. Real Sphinx, which immediately the very first thing I saw was what everybody saw on this card.
Yes.
It's
also the center of the card.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the very first thing you're like, oh. Put at the bottom of your spell. Okay, so you're at least drawing a card. But do you want to play this in Spark Mage?
No, this is a casual card.
Yeah.
This is a casual card. My favorite thing though with this card is you ask your opponent top or bottom. They choose. And they're like, cool, I'll draw a sight. So so it messes with the top of your spell book, but you can draw a sight from it. Because it says draw a card.
Yeah, that is what the card says.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Those are some mind games.
It's fine. I really wish it wasn't 4 power. If I'm paying, I don't really want to pay 6 to draw a card and have a 4 power creature. I really wish it was 5. Because I'd rather just play vampires.
Yeah.
But it's fine. I used to run it in my Death Speaker deck. Actually, do I have it back in there? I always want it back in there for the memes, because that deck was my first ever deck. I playtested it. It's still crazy that's why it has so many views. It's been on Curiosa for 2 years. But I am no longer running her. Yeah, it's just I just rather run like Manticore or Vampire than her. But you can
Uh,
draw sight with it.
yeah. Roaming Monster's my favorite card. It
Really?
hits it. I will hard fight people on it ever since like because I have a history of just having my favorite card be just these big just dumb things that just aren't that great, and why they tend to cost a lot, don't do a whole lot, but like once they do the thing, they're great. I love Roaming Monster. I think I think he's good. Like
I think it's okay.
it's yeah, he's not like, the best, but he's still like, it's
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
He's a 4 for 4 if you pay the tax for some of this.
Yeah. Yeah. Is Summoning Sphere seriously 1 mana?
Yes.
Oh, that's why I like it. Uh yeah, we don't care about the other threshold stuff. Skirmishers of Moo. Basic perform a range strike from any location along the path. So it's like the other archers, but instead of it can.
It's in reverse of the other archer. So you use the move and attack ability. Actually, this only works with move and attack. So you use move and attack. I take a step. Before the attack part of that step happens, I then get to do a ranged strike. So then I shoot a projectile. So essentially, this lets you basically do 6 damage to something, or it lets you do 3 damage to something and 3 damage to something else.
So this thing is really good.
Yeah, it just dies to a lightning bolt, so it never really does anything.
But if it does stick around,
yeah, it's a kill on sight card.
yeah, which would mean it has to be good because it's
it's good. Yeah, it's really good.
Sky Baron, like my buddy loves this card, and it's good.
It's a great
card. It is a good card, but screw this card. I've lost games because of this card.
This card is you are unable to attack this card.
Even with ranged?
Range is not an attack.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are unable to attack this card unless you played your own Sky Baron, because then no one has airborne.
No one is in the air. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Yeah. Sling Pixies, airborne range takes no damage from use.
Yeah.
Oh, like it's like there's no real incentive to play it. That's my.
It's a great wall. You should see a lot of play against like AOA decks. Or not AOE decks, because Avatar of Earth would always be over 4, so it's just a free blocker forever. And then if Battle Mage is strolling in with a +1, it protects against Battle Mage. It's just a blocker.
Yeah.
So.
All right. I think every single one of the 1 mana 2 powers are. I would argue fine. They're good. I would argue they're good, just because they still push damage, and still 2 damage at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think they're okay. They're just okay. Like, there's a fun aggro deck that plays all of them. The whole deck is just deep beasts, and it uses it tries to just turbo out beasts. It uses assorted animals to grab like 5 Thanes for 5 mana and just.
Oh. See, like that's the kind of deck I would play. Just all right, let's Spectral Stalker. Well, but it has Void Walk, which means at minimum it is dealing that 2 damage.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah,
It's an aggro card.
yeah,
It's an aggro
yeah,
card.
definitely.
I'm still mad it's an undead and not a spirit, but uh,
Yes. Because then yeah, it would be it
because
could
then it could
do
get
with lumber
charged
stuff.
with evil presence,
Yeah.
but it can't.
Oh.
So yeah, it's a classic sorcery aggro card, and that's about it.
Oh yeah, Spire. We were talking about that earlier. But Spire Lich. I first thought this card was utterly broken, and then realized the restrictions on it, and I don't think this. I think if you build around it, then yeah, it could be really good, but other than that, I don't think you'd want to run that sort of stuff. So I don't think this card is that great.
Yeah, it's fine. It's
Yeah.
really fun in a mono air matchup, but
Yeah.
in a mono air mirror match, but it's okay.
Obviously, Summoning Sphere, just great.
Great.
Yeah, great card. Um, I know we're trying to speed things up a little bit more because we've been talking for 3 hours. I could probably tell we're both just
Tired.
getting to that point.
It's okay. We only have like 15 more cards.
Yeah. Telekinesis, yeah, it's tech card.
Yeah, it's sees no play. It might at some point if more weapons
Yeah.
become made and playable, it'll start seeing some stuff.
Yeah.
It's great in a Avatar of Water deck or in a Battle Mage deck. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely battle mage. I want to make because I just want to make battle mage my mono fire deck just because I the red deck wins, woo, whatever. But then I realized like I just add another element, just do it. Teleport I think is a great card.
Yep.
Yeah, just
you can't go wrong. It's simple,
yeah.
good. It's Spark Mage's second best card.
Yes, like this single handedly made me go from losing a game to winning a game.
Yep.
Just because, yeah, if you put all your eggs in one basket, oh, I think if you notice anybody's playing air, you have to play around this card.
Yeah. Or blink. You play around more blink, but yeah. Outer space, fantastic. It's one of the best sites in the game.
Yeah, this is much easier to play around. Well,
yep.
Play around, yeah. Actually, yeah, play around, not build around, play around. Thunderstorm, I personally wait to a random unit atop affected sites. So does it deal to one of the 4?
Yes, if there's 4 sites.
Then you move.
So basically it so out of all of it, so it counts all of its sites, and then it counts the total number of units amongst all of its sites. If it's on 4 sites, because there's only 1 unit, it's always going to hit that 1 unit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically Lightning Bolt if Lightning Bolt had 4 sites you picked.
Which I think this is fine. Like it's good.
Yeah, it's anywhere from bad to really good, because it can deal 9 damage to your opponent's avatar for only 4 mana, and that's really good. Because most people don't move their avatars most games, so they play 2 sites. They play their 3rd site. You're going first. You're now at 4. You drop this bad boy. They probably don't have any minions out, and so they're guaranteed to take 3 of their avatar. And then now they have to play a minion on the next turn, and then it's 50-50 if hits their avatar, and they only have 4 mana, so their minions probably only 3. So it's really good.
Yeah. Ultimate Horror, Airborne Voidwalk, summon each other dead Voidwalk minion to a nearby site or void. So, oh yeah, I have actually seen this. I think this is a if if they bring more Voidwalk, which they are, this thing is going to be a deck archetype. Just
Yeah,
Voidwalk, period.
yeah. So it's pretty cool. It already has a deck. There's enough
Oh,
Voidwalk to kind of make it a thing. Basically, the whole deck is trying to. Well, you're trying to actually get Lord of the Void out for cheaper, and you're running a discard strategy as well.
hmm.
So you're doing some discard. You're basically trying to discard cards to get stuff in there. Basically, it's an air, fire, or water deck. I actually think is what it is. Um, and so it's using Ultimate Horror and Ghost Ship to try to get out Lord of the Void at an easier rate.
Hmm. So yeah, I think this was definitely build around you.
Yeah, it's a build
Yeah, it's a unique. So
yeah, it does a very unique effect, and it's very cool if it comes out.
Mm-hmm. Like if it does even partially the thing, it has done work. But if it doesn't, then you played a 6 power with Airborne Voidwalk, which fine.
Pretty good.
But likely alliance for each rarity among allied minions. So 4 mana can draw 4 cards. Probably only gonna draw you maybe 2 cards, maybe even 3. I know I wouldn't want to play this card.
This card's bad.
Yes.
It's
Okay.
very bad.
Okay.
It's always card disadvantage.
Yes.
It never breaks parity. It at best it's 5 cards for 4.
5 cards?
So you have to play your 4 minions. So that's 4 cards, and then you play.
Oh yeah.
So you've played 5 cards to only draw 4.
Yeah.
Not good. Most of the time, this is 4 mana, draw 1. It's a very bad card.
Yeah. I think updraft rage, great. Like if you have any airborne minions at all, just slap this in your deck. You're golden.
Yep.
Vril Revenant. Yeah. I played this in that tried to do the Great Old One grapple shot thing just in case, whatever. Yeah, I don't, because I don't think this is good. Well, I think it can be fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
If you're doing something really dumb, like you're trying to ramp out, you're trying to do a bunch of stuff, it's a great mana sink. If you can pull off the frog wizard occult ritual,
you've domed somebody for what is that?
14,
15, because the additional 1.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. But
yeah. I'm like that's the reason why I added it in the in that Great Old One grapple shot, whatever. Because the whole deck is literally just all right, ramp, big things, and then very few other cards.
It's a big thing.
I'm like, I think if I would have played this on the turn, was it 3 or 4 that I would have had it out? I could then on the next turn made it an 8 or 9, which would have been nuts. But
yeah, it's pretty good.
Wall of Air. I don't think this is that impactful.
I'll tell you what it is. It's a blank text box.
Yeah. Wait, yeah, because Airborne can just move diagonally across.
Yes. Yes, that is correct. That is 100% correct. Because corners no longer count as borders. So corners did count as borders at one point in time in the game's history. So it did prevent Airborne, but corners no longer count as borders for a multitude of reasons, and it made Wall of Air literally do nothing but stop 2 power minions from coming through.
And that's no. When do you ever want to do that? Just put literally anything in front of it. Like yeah.
It's a blank.
Yeah, garbage card. Nearby sites permanently lose stealth. This is fine.
Because Infiltrate exists, this is a card that should be played in every single air deck.
Yeah. It's I mean, yeah, it's
It
yes,
does nothing. It's basically Spire, um, but it protects your stuff from being infiltrated, which is kind of a big deal.
yeah, which I like. I would be fine with having even just like one of these. Like as soon as I get one of these out, good, great. Like it has done the thing because yeah, you put the site there and then one was it one of these north of it and then you've protected like basically everything on your side.
Yeah,
Um, Waypoint Portal I think is I think not that great. I don't think this is very good.
I've never seen this card played.
Yeah, I think
The
I
the
tried.
the the dust promo art phenomenal. I've seen it in person. If you want to see it, click on the card. Go to beta promo. Um,
Oh,
yeah, yeah, it's sick. Um,
are they like busting through a shield?
yeah, I don't know, man. It's just cool. Um, but
Yeah.
but like I've I have ruled. A couple of my other fellow league judges disagree with me, but I have ruled for my local area in Austin, Texas, that siege crabs and phalanx can use this to go anywhere. Um, because adjacent is sideways for siege crabs, and adjacent is forward for phalanx. My fellow league judges disagree with me, and it has been ruled against what I've said. But
I'm like I can honestly see where you're coming with it though, because yeah, what it's supposed to be is yeah, literally a portal here and here or wherever, and then yeah, they just go through it to wherever. Like I,
yeah, yeah,
but
their logic's also sound, and
yeah,
I think it's a little bit better. But let's buff the crabs is what I'm telling people.
dude,
So
I love the crabs. Like it's yeah, it's the was it roaming monster and the crabs are just like I want them to work. I need them to work, but they don't, and that's my problem. My whirling blades just great, awesome.
it's great. It's
Yes,
a great
yeah,
card. It's yeah, so little to say about it.
yeah. I don't think anybody would say anything otherwise. It's just it's the card. Uh, when Sylph,
Self,
yeah. What?
self, it is
Yeah.
self.
Uh, airborne air spellcaster.
It can only cast air spells.
Well, yeah, yeah. But what spells would it then cast? Like
It
there's.
can cast anything that's air. Anything that has an air threshold on it, it can cast.
Well, yeah, yeah. No, no. I'm thinking about just what spells like it would do from there. Um, like
Well,
what?
if it specifically casts a magic spell, it can push something, which is good.
Um, well, yeah, yes. Um, I think yeah. This will get better over time. If they.
Yeah, as we get more air magics, yeah, it's great in Spark Mage, um, because you can have this cast all of your lightning bolts and teleports and all the stuff, and you can use it to push your Spark Mage or your unit and increase Spark Mage's charge count. It's great. It's fun. Um,
I didn't realize that no matter what you had to was it you you could choose what just whatever spellcaster casts the spell. It just
mhm,
if it doesn't specify, it like fires a projectile or does whatever, like
yeah,
then it's still just you choose the spellcaster, the spell is then cast, does the effect wherever.
yeah, yeah, yep.
Hmm. I'm like, then yeah, this is good.
Yeah, which is why cards like Muse, Fubor Muse, something like that. It's a water card that re-triggers rivers anytime you cast a spell with it. Great card. It's
Hmm.
Seer on steroids. Um,
Yeah, because wouldn't they then like
because it
trigger separately?
re-triggers the genesis of rivers, and rivers is scry one off your spell book.
Yeah.
So you can't look at your sites with it, but basically you have that cast cheap spells, and so you just keep scrying. So if your whole deck's like cheap cantrips, you play Muse, and you're like, so I'm only gonna cast spells with her now, So that includes your minions. Your minions now scry you one. Everything now has scry one.
Uh, I love this game already.
Yeah.
Wind blast, but push everything. Uh, so sites one step in a cardinal direction. Can't be to avoid. Correct.
Yeah. So you push everything that can be pushed. Um, everything has to stay in its region. Um,
Unless it
so
specifies it can.
yeah, which is only a nightmare. So so Wind Blast will push everything. It will push monuments, it'll push auras, it'll push everything if it can. So it normally doesn't push auras because usually auras will be like on like 3 sites and 1 void. And because of how the sites are positioned, it can't push the site because it'll make one of those change regions. But if a site was split, or if an aura was split like 2 sites, 2 voids, and then I had a void up here and a site up here, it could push them that direction because the two points of it that are in the void stay in the void, and the 2 points on the sites stay on sites. Uh,
Hmm. Um. I. I don't think this card's very great.
no,
Uh.
it's okay. It lets you do some cheeky stuff.
Yeah.
It's real fun if you're playing shark. And
Yeah, because then all of a sudden, all right, everything just dies.
yeah,
Uh. Yeah. Oh, we're down to our last two.
yep.
What's our timer looking
I
at?
can go to bed soon.
3:35. I'm probably gonna go to bed after this. Uh, Witherwing Hero. Or weaker allied bending here is attacked. Turn to its understand. Um. Hmm. Hmm.
It lets
mean,
you
yeah.
put wizards back in your hand.
Yeah.
Cast.
I'm like, yeah. That's it. It does the thing. I mean, it's fine
It
card.
lets you put princess back in your hand to go grab another core.
Um. Then it's a great card. Because yeah, even then, it's still 4 mana 4 power
Yeah.
that just
Yeah.
does good.
Mm-hmm.
Like it will always at least do something.
Yes.
Um, auto include definitely more of a build slight build around, but I still think it's just good enough to where you could just run it. If you're running air,
Yeah.
just run it.
Yeah. You can just run it. It's never gonna hurt not to. Yeah.
Uh,
I,
yeah.
it's good.
Airships, it moves.
It, yes.
Yeah,
It
that's
can carry the Airwolves deck again. It's Airwolves. So
it's Airwolves.
So they want to be. You just load your Zeppelin full of wolves and then push
That is a
in.
terrifying sight. I'm gonna airdrop bombs of wolves, and you're going to die. Deal with it.
Yep.
So yeah, this card good.
Yeah, it's all right. I think it's better in draft. I don't know. It's
Yeah, I can definitely see better draft.
I've yet to see the steeds be really good. Like at the end of the day, the steeds give all of your units +1 movement, which can be good. Because like even the steeds that don't have movement +X, it's still you move that unit 1 space, and then now your other unit can now move the additional 1 space. So it's movement +1 and everything, which can be good. Zeppelin, I think, is the best one because you can carry as many things as it wants.
Yeah. Well, that's all
That's
of them.
That's
yeah. It was a.
That's all the air cards for the next 6 days.
We're gonna get more. I gotta make 3 more of these. Oh my god.
It'll be faster with just you though.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think there was another guy who wanted to do some stuff with me too, talking about was some hot takes on specific cards that he does or doesn't like. But
yeah, it only took us an hour and a half to go through 84 cards.
Yeah, which isn't that bad. It's because we spent the first hour and a half just talking, which
Yep.
is honestly great. Now my problem is having to edit everything down.
Have fun.
I
I'm going to sleep. I have to be up at it's 10 o'clock for me right now. I need to be up at like 6.
It's 11 for me, and I have to wake up not at a specified time.
That's nice.
Yeah, just because I canceled D&D tomorrow because somebody wasn't going to be there, and I got too much stuff to do. Well, thanks for hopping in and having some fun little conversations.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Yeah. See you, buddy.
Bye.
Yippee. All right. Well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you did like the video, make sure to like and subscribe. And nope. I'm gonna be a good streamer, YouTuber, man. Here, I'll do the thing. I'll do the thing. Hey guys, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys liked the video, please make sure to like and subscribe. It means a whole lot to me. If you want to go check him out, if he has a YouTube channel, I'll link him down below. But if you guys want to see more of him or any other sorcery content creators in the future, then let me know down in the comments below, or whoever you want to see me collaborate with. And I'll see you guys in the next video.